What is going on, everybody? It is episode 426 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hey, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. If you thought that I was cursing a lot yesterday, you should hear how I talk before the show with Brett, because it's way worse.
It's like a sailor.
Like, by far, it's way worse. So anyway, we have a special guest on the show today. It's Vanessa Santos. Hi.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Tell everyone what it is you do.
Yeah, so I started a public relations firm a couple years ago, and I'm trying to work with, unafraid, honest, independent thinkers and trying to break that kind of thinking into the mainstream media.
And you actually help us here.
I do. I work on a couple projects with you guys, and I love it. I love Timcast.
Yep. And we did an episode of IRL. It's got to be like a year ago now, right?
Yeah. Yes. I actually think maybe almost to the date.
Wow.
I know.
I'll have to look that up. That's funny. Afterwards. Maybe somebody in the chat can go look that up. But yes, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But time goes by pretty fast. It does. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Barbie has been banned in Kuwait, and they could be following suit in Lebanon. But also, the 1975 has been asked to pay out.
Facing their comeuppance
Yes.
for their homosexual display in Malaysia. I'm very happy about this.
Mary is very happy. $2.6 million are going to be forced to pay out over there in Malaysia because they prevented a bunch of other artists from being able to do their performances. And Malaysia's like, look, pay up, guys. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mia Khalifa, who has issued a response to all of the threats that she received on her pro-divorce rant that she went on. We got a bunch of videos we're going to go through with you. I got a little bit of a different take on it. I think everybody's talking at each other.
I think
they're
her
talking
clarification
to each other.
was a huge cop-out.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about the fact that apparently hot, sexy, like women that are thin are back.
Scantily clad.
It's back, ladies and gentlemen. You are now allowed to celebrate toxic beauty standards because Victoria's Secret is bringing back the fashion show, and Gisele Bündchen did a photo shoot with the other old, much hotter angels. So maybe it is you're just grandfathered in. Right? You're like,
these women have got to be like in their 40s
she's 43.
to 50s.
Gisele Bündchen's 43.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, she's off. She ran off with her Taibo instructor or something, or her personal trainer who picked her up from I just read something before the show today. Like, I guess her old personal trainer picked her up from the airport. So she divorced between her and Kevin Costner's wife.
How
could
it
awful.
be more stereotypical than that? The personal trainer, you might as well date the pool cleaner.
Well, that goes back to Priscilla Presley, right?
Yes.
I mean,
who was she with?
The original trainer cheating scandal, kind of. But it was
really?
her taekwondo or something.
Yeah.
I feel like she's entitled to that, to be honest. If their relationship started when she was 14.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Problematic, as they say. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about an OnlyFans model who was banned from an airport for being dressed inappropriately. And that's, Mary's got to be happy. We're bringing some semblance of modesty back to the world.
Yeah.
She's like, can I donate to this airport?
Where was it? In Spain or something?
Yeah. So it's like, they're like, we need to bring that modesty back here to the U.S., she says.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. But before we get started, guys, would you hit the like button on this video? Please subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will read them right then and there. So if you have a question for Vanessa or Mary or I or anybody here, or you just want to say something nice or mean, you can do that. We will read those right then and there, and then we will get back on discussion as fast as possible. Also, share these videos with your friends so that more people can join us. It helps a lot. So if you ladies are ready, we will get right going. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Vanessa, are you ready?
Born ready.
Let's do this. All right, first things first. Actually, I have a relatively sad announcement to make first, and that's always depressing. But Johnny Hardwick, who voiced Dale Gribble in King of the Hill, has passed away, which is very sad because they're actually making a King of the Hill reboot right now.
They are?
Yes. Yep. They're doing so at the moment.
Can they not?
Yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near what it was. That's for sure.
What if they make it around Luann though?
They
was
probably
awesome.
will. They probably end up doing that. But it's like it's not going to have the edge that it had before.
Yes.
And it was done at a time when it was just a less polarizing climate that we lived in. And like just imagine, because Dale's the conspiracy theorist in the show too. So what is the show without him?
This show is kind of like King of the Hill. It's
Yes.
like, yep.
So it's very sad. They don't list how he passed, but they mentioned that he did, and that he was also somebody who he ran for the whole 13 seasons, and he helped out with a lot of other stuff. So it's very sad to see, but rest in peace to him. And I just think they cancel it. Just cancel the King of the Hill reboot. You don't.
They
need
should
to
have
do
canceled
it
it before this guy passed away.
You
to be
don't need to
honest.
do it. You don't need to do it. So, all right, Mary found this story right before we went live. Breaking news.
Yeah, Lizzo has been dropped from the Super Bowl of 2024. I guess she was in line for consideration to do the halftime show.
Yep.
And because of the scandal of her being accused of fat shaming and sexual harassment, attempted assault, among other things, she has been unceremoniously sacked.
That's crazy too, because you'd think that they would just like wait it out. The Super Bowl's no time soon.
I didn't think that they cared about that type of thing. I didn't think so. And Lizzo, of all people, like, she can get out of this
she'll be
really
fine.
Easily.
But
she probably didn't even need to address it publicly.
I just think this is more evidence of how, this toxic work environment scandal thing is it's the new Me Too.
You were talking about this earlier, right? So
Yeah.
it's a thing actually called, like, you think it's called like the toxic workplace. That's what's, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it.
Hostile
I
work
love this.
environments are now what you can use to attack someone with
Yeah.
accusations.
Yes, I mean, and I think you were the one who found the article, Mean To.
Yeah, it's hashtag mean to
Me
instead
Too.
of me too, where you just expose someone for being a jerk who we already could safely guess was a
Yes.
jerk. Like, it's not a surprise that Lizzo is a bad person, obviously.
They're celebrities. Of course they're bad people.
It's not just a celebrity, but a particularly narcissistic one.
Maybe
A
she can-
particularly celebrated one despite her faults.
Well, what's funny is that wasn't her show named like "Watch Out for the Big Girls,"
Yep.
but the big girl to watch out for was her, and it was actually sounds like a warning rather than just
Yeah.
a
That's what
fun
they'll end up
title.
calling-
Watch out, big girls.
Yeah.
When the documentary about her bad behavior gets made, that's what it'll be called too. It'll be
Watch
called
out for the big girl.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to watch that. I'll watch that one. I won't watch the series where I have to watch her pick a bunch of overweight dancers, but I will watch the one where she's exposed as an extremely mean person.
Yes.
Also, I saw a thing today where, and I have no idea if this is related or if they're just being funny, but there's a John Boy. I don't know if either of you follow baseball or care about baseball at all, but John Boy Media is like they do a lot of baseball reporting. It's like Gen X dudes who built like a social media empire that's now a YouTube empire, and they're doing a thing today where it's like do anything with a banana except eat it. And I'm just like, all I can think about is like, is this topical?
Yeah.
This is gross. Because like a guy's like, he's like smashing it. I'm like, well, I guess that's better than what Lizzo did with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
And the Super Bowl's so far away. Like we're not even just no. Like
People are just so trigger happy to cancel, and it's so boring. I'm so tired of the cancellations and these
I don't feel bad for
accusations.
Lizzo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad for Lizzo. I'm just so sick and tired of just how quickly it's like, oh, one bad thing is said now.
Yeah.
but that's
done.
PR, right? They have to act. They have to either not act at all, or they have to act right away. You have to get in front of it. Like that would
But
be
the
the two
problem
approaches,
is
right?
nobody knew that she was in consideration
That's
for
what
the
I was just
for the
gonna
Super
say.
Bowl and would have forgotten about this scandal by then anyway. So it is just that they feel like personally convicted
Yeah.
about her situation.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like, who cares?
I guess it would be
don't
different if
care.
she was actually announced as the host,
Right.
or as the act, and then
No,
gotten rid of
yeah.
it. Now they're like, well, just for that, we're not going to even consider you.
Yeah.
Like, how much were you actually going to be considered, anyways?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the price you pay when you live in the public eye. So she's going to lose out on a lot of opportunities. I do think this is one of those things where she could just get it back. Like, say this all goes away. Like, we have such short memories these days.
Yep.
Did you remember that video I showed you where the guy sings all of the crazy crap that happened in July? And you think about all the various things. He's like the sub, this, like all like
Yeah.
the sub was like 9 catastrophes
That's
ago.
crazy.
In
Tim was
culture.
talking about that earlier today, and he said that they were like conscious of the fact that they were about to implode for about 60 seconds as they were like plummeting to the bottom of the ocean because they realize that they lost power. And just imagine you're in the pitch darkness and you know that in about a minute you're gonna implode, and it's like, oh shit, like it's not as bad as what people thought, which was that they were like running out of oxygen for hours and hours, but it's still worse than an instant implosion, you know, like you don't want them to have suffered.
Whichever way you slice it, it's like my worst fear. It is so scary.
All right. Also, guys, just don't worry. The next Marvel movie is going to be silly and fun because not any of the Marvel movies are ever serious. I'm not kidding you. This is an article that says they're promising that Captain Marvel 2 is going to be silly, and they're actually trying to use this as a selling point, as if people aren't sick to death of Marvel's awful humor.
She says, the director said, this is different from every other Marvel movie because it's more wacky and silly than the rest of them.
She says, I think superhero fatigue absolutely exists. The biggest difference from the other MCU movies today is that it's really wacky and silly. The worlds we go to in this movie are worlds unlike others you've seen in the MCU. Yes, they're not. That's not true. It's just going to be CGI. All the worlds are CGI.
I get confused because it's so easy to gauge what the audiences want these days by simply searching on Twitter or Instagram or Reddit, and you will see the general sentiment of the fans. Yeah. It's not like decades ago when you couldn't really tell what the audience wanted. But this is the exact opposite. It's like they search out what people say they want to change about the MCU, and then they do the opposite.
Yeah, and she also says, I can't get over this. She added that working on the Marvels was a lot less traumatizing to work on than other projects. Woe is you, lady. Woe is you. Your life is
there are a lot of powerful women around me.
Yeah,
that's what her reason would be.
That must be it. She said, well, they referenced Candyman, which was, Jordan, what's his name? From Key and Peele. Jordan Peele movie. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe Jordan Peele.
Jordan from Key and Peele.
Jordan Peele. Oh, every time I say Jordan Peele, I almost say Jordan Peterson.
That's funny.
So,
I bet he hates Jordan Peterson.
Yes. He probably very much hates Jordan Peterson. So, all right, guys. The SAG. I wanted to talk with Vanessa on this because you like reality TV.
I do. I love it.
I see you talk about reality. That was how I got the idea to have you on here because you tweet about reality TV on the regular. Yes. Right? Well,
I'm addicted.
Right now, Bethany Frankel has been pushing to get at like the reality TV stars in SAG. And SAG seems to be amenable to this idea. It says SAG-AFTRA, as the union that represents reality performers, depending on the structure of the production and the performance involved, we can cover these performers under our network code agreement. The Guild also said that it would be in contact with Frankel's attorney, Brian Friedman, and is offering its services for any reality TV performer that is, quote, tired of studios and production companies trying to circumvent the union in order to exploit the talent that they rely upon to make their product. But the thing is like...
What talent, though?
Yes.
They're very good at self-promotion. They're very good at self-promotion.
Okay, yes. What's the talent beyond I'm good at starting drama? You know,
sometimes that's just the only skill set you need.
That's the point, is that it's a reality show that you don't need to put work into it. People just drink and fight each other.
Yes, and they're not even necessarily good at starting the drama because that's being done by the producers.
Like instigated they're by the producers.
Right, they're good at reacting to drama, I guess, but no, totally.
So she'd have sex with your husband, and then she's like, "Oh, have you had enough to drink yet?" Like, it really does sound like a weird type of torture technique that they use on them over there.
Absolutely, and it's funny too because when you take it, that sort of setup under consideration, the seasons in their basically all of these housewife series, especially, they started to really center around one ridiculous, plot, like drama plot, and. I can't even think of an example of one.
But they're all like that.
They are. And it'll be something as silly as Jenna Lyons didn't want to stay the night at, Aaron's house in the Hamptons. And everybody is like, how could she? She left us. And it was like, Jenna was like, no, I wanted to wake up in the morning and I had a call. And, they're like, she's disgusting. She's despicable. And it's like, when you take into consideration that there's a producer saying, isn't that mean? She doesn't even care about the show. She doesn't care about your relationship. It does start to make a little more sense.
This is why women are evil sometimes, man.
So the real talent is in the crew behind the reality shows.
Yeah, it's totally Andy Cohen people. Yes.
Thoughts on Bethany Frankel specifically, if you have any?
So my thoughts on Bethany Frankel, well, first of all, Did you guys see that video of her a couple weeks ago or like a week ago where she's reviewing seafood in a hotel room?
No.
Oh my gosh. If you can find this, Brett, you really should.
Why in an enclosed space?
It is the creepiest thing. It made its rounds on Twitter for a couple days, and she's sitting in like a dark hotel room with a really strange light. And you know, she's kind of started like reviewing products on her personal pages where she's like, this is a designer thing, it's worth it or it's not worth it. Or like, this is a really cheap thing from CVS and this is fantastic. Well, she's sitting in a hotel room eating like
Scarfing down.
Is it this?
Okay, yes.
Please play it.
Hold on.
It was like Old Town Crab, and they said crawfish, or crayfish, crawfish, crawdaddies, and Dungeness crab,
It's crazy.
which I love, and it's insane. So I rip open this bag, and this giant bag is here, and I'm scrambling around the room trying to find what to do with it, and it's a grab bag, because you ordered the fish, you ordered like crawfish. Do you want lobster? I didn't get 1 corn, 2 corn, 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. So I didn't know
deserves
that it was
union
coming
protection,
like
ladies and gentlemen.
in a trough. And so
Talent.
I am in a hotel room.
Talent.
Thank God, because in my own house I'd have to sell my house. So I took a tray and just got another bag, and now I have 1 glove. I have to do so like work
I've seen this
tomorrow
15 times and I'm
and
shocked again.
Be like a public
crazy.
person. I'm gonna smell like this, and I got the cracker.
What the hell
thing
is on her
was
face?
$50.
Is she wearing a face mask?
I think
The
she's
crayfish is-
wearing a bib. Like a
No, I'm like from her eye line up.
I mean,
like,
she's got a lot of filler.
It's probably
so-
like one of those anti-aging like mask things. Because I mean, she's in a private. Can you? I have never personally brought seafood back to a hotel room to scarf it down. That's crazy. So like even just that detail alone, it's crazy. But the point about Bethany Frankel, I think that she's one of the best housewives in housewife history for sure. I think that she's also a pretty impressive businesswoman. But it kind of seems like she's pulling the ladder up behind her in a way because she saw so much success for her Skinny Girl line of alcohol products, and it's almost like what she's doing, this meddling behind the scenes. It's a lot of people are kind of saying she doesn't want to see other housewives see the kind of success she did. She kind of wants to be the only one, and she does not strike me as the girl's girl type of woman.
Well, the point of being on a reality show is that you can get a platform off of that and then get brand deals or make your own products and do it yourself, like actually be self-made, but you get like a boost from being on this show. And I mean, I guess that the SAG strike is really built on the idea that you have to rely on the big studios in Hollywood.
Fun fact: the last strike lasted exactly 100 days. We are 100 days today, with no end in sight.
No end in strike.
With no end in strike, exactly.
And it's cost California's economy $3 billion and possibly $5 billion if they make it to October.
But here's the thing: when you really think about it, $3 billion. So what? That's like 3, 6, 9, 12 billion a year. California wastes that much money all the time. Like, California's horrible with money. Like, is that really going to cost them all that much? They'll just take more from the everyday people.
I see another one of their signs from the strike, specifically the Writers Guild. Of course, the writers would have the cringiest signs that says, our therapist keeps saying we have to stand up for ourselves. So here we are. Sorry.
Why are Hollywood writers so
another
horrible?
one says, I like your offer as much as you like an angry female lead.
They're so, it's like somebody got in their ear and said and gave them all the things that would make them unlikable.
Like, are you trying to be hated? I just don't understand.
Well, the thing is that it reflects the television that we see now, right? Which is cynical, which everything that's written today is written as snarky and cynical, and the signs actually prove that. So if anything, what this is proof of life that the people on the picket lines are the actual writers because they evoke the exact same snarky, cynical message that modern television tends to give you. Like, that's what I've noticed, right? It's like with a lot of the things that we review, there's a few things I have no patience for, and that's snark, overly snarky, and cynicism, especially when they're together. You can do one or the other. You can do snarky if it's combined with a little bit of earnestness or genuine kindness afterwards. But I can't take both of them when all the characters are both snarky and cynical, because why would I want my entertainment to look like that?
I saw a thread on Twitter about the writer's strike that I just didn't buy for a second. It says, guys, you have no idea about the scripts I read. It's my job. Heartbreaking dramas, wildly funny comedies, groundbreaking sci-fi.
When was the last time Hollywood
Amazing
made
love
any type
stories.
of comedy at all?
Biopics of fascinating people I've never heard of. Almost none of them get made. It's not the writers who are the problem. Almost all truly great movies require a studio to take a risk on a new voice, a new idea, or new twist audiences haven't seen a million times. The way studios work now, those are all the opposite of what they want. They want a McDonald's hamburger every day for every meal.
Well, they're not wrong about studios not taking chances.
Yes.
They're right about that part, but at the end of the day.
But when I see something like this thing that Adam Sandler's daughters are in now, You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. Yes, that is the name of the Netflix show. They took a risk there, didn't they?
I mean,
who is gonna watch
I actually,
that shit?
I think that Netflix signed some like huge deal with Sandler, so he's just cranking out movies just to hit a quota.
So he's just throwing one out there for his kids.
I think so. That's
awesome.
But,
I love Adam
but,
Sandler for that.
I know,
So
I do too.
stupid.
But you know, whenever I want to watch a good comedy, I go back to the 80s and 90s, and I just rewatch Tommy Boy. I rewatch Dumb and Dumber. I watch those really goofy ones.
Liar, Liar.
I love Liar.
The
Liar.
Mask.
I love The Mask. I mean, those are where I'm really gonna laugh. And you know, even Bridesmaids and stuff. This is probably an unpopular take. I really didn't think it was that funny. I never found Kristen Wiig that funny.
It's really funny too because I've been watching. I love the show. Oh no, sorry, not Kristen Wiig, Kristen Bell. Different Kristen. I caught myself before I made the mistake. But a lot of those comedies, like back then, or even romantic comedies, are another huge victim of that. Like I was trying to explain to someone 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
And they couldn't, and they didn't get it because they didn't grow up in a time period where you actually had romantic comedies, right?
Yeah.
It's sad. It's the world we live in now.
Drew Barrymore, man, like in her heyday, she was so fantastic. I don't know what's happened to that woman. Her show is a disaster, but she was the queen of romantic Wedding Singer.
Yep. Everyone loves The Wedding Singer.
It's the best.
It's I'm sorry, There's Something About Mary.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Cameron Diaz.
Yep.
The best.
Ben Stiller in his heyday.
Yes.
That and if you haven't seen Heavyweights, where he plays the fitness instructor, the evil fitness instructor.
No.
Oh yeah, you should watch it. There's this great segment where he does like, do you know what I don't remember. It's the Paley Center for the Arts. They do these panels with actors. A lot of times it's with new shows, and they talk to these actors about the show they're on. But sometimes they'll get panels with old actors, and they'll talk about stuff they do. And he explains how like the movie Heavyweights got made, where it's like it wasn't made as a comedy, and Disney bought it anyways, and they're like, it's not really funny. It is, but like his character's not funny.
Right.
And he's like, and they just kind of let it happen, and it's really great. Like everyone should go watch Heavyweights if you haven't seen it already.
So I actually think the funniest content that I've seen in the past, I mean, probably like 10 years, is Danny McBride stuff, and it's stuff on HBO. It's recently he's got The Righteous Gemstones. It's freaking hilarious. He did Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down's good.
I love a sports comedy usually, but oh my goodness, he is so funny. But what I really can't stand though is that when these terrible comedies get made, and then they'll like throw in like an actual comic genius for a cameo. And I'm just like, so you're telling me that you had someone like, I don't know, probably a bad example, but someone like Will Ferrell come on and he had nothing to say about how not funny this is?
Yeah.
It's just surprising to me.
They can't afford them for more than.
Yeah, that's true.
They're too expensive. Like,
It's just so bad.
Like I'm sure Will Ferrell costs more than they can afford just to get him in the door.
Yes.
Right? Like he's an
But
expensive
either way,
one.
Will Ferrell will agree to these cameos, and then he just has no constructive criticism. Hey, this isn't funny, just so you know. Okay, bye. Thanks for the paycheck.
There's a $20 one there from Crispy Leg Transport LLC.
He said, I'm from New Orleans, and I bring seafood to my room when I visit home.
Okay, there you go. Do you
You
wear
and Bethany.
Do you wear a mask on your face and to get rid of? So, what do you think that was? Like people were saying it's a mask. Was it like to prevent wrinkles or something?
I think so. It looked like one of those anti-aging things. Do you think?
Frownies.
So glad I'm a dude and I don't have to worry about that stuff.
Well, I've heard that the new trend now is men getting Botox, Brett.
That's never,
What?
I saw Jason Aldean. I'm not doing that.
Men should look as weathered as possible.
I agree, sister.
I'm not doing that. Like
I do like when they do blonde tips though.
Yeah, exactly. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I don't either. That's the problem. And that's why it's so funny, right? All right, let's talk about Elon Musk. So apparently, guys, him and Zuckerberg are going to fight, and it will be held at, quote, an epic location in Rome. You'd think they would have learned their lesson after that Astro World 2.0 disaster we had the other day with Kanye and Travis Scott.
At the Circus Maximus,
Yes.
They literally are destroying ancient monuments in Rome regularly for pop culture. But that's to be continued. Elon said that the fight will not be managed by UFC, but by his and Zuck's foundations. It'll be streamed on X, Twitter, X videos, I don't know, and Meta.
Yeah, I was gonna say they should dual stream, right?
Everything in frame will be in ancient Rome, nothing modern at all. And he spoke to the Prime Minister of Italy and their Minister of Culture, who agreed to an epic location.
There's a $20 one right there from Francisco Sanchez Jr.
Woo. He said, if this generation of writers found a genie to grant them one wish, and they wished to make a movie as funny as Vacation or Ace Ventura, the genie would laugh at them and go back into the bottle.
Very true. Everyone should go rewatch Ace Ventura. I mean, that movie, I imagine that movie will come to a reckoning eventually because of...
reckoning?
Yeah, because there's a character named... Finkel, and Finkel is Einhorn, and Einhorn is Finkel, and that is not a joke that flies today. For anybody who's actually seen the movie, they understand what I'm talking about.
I've seen it, but I don't remember what you're talking about.
Well, Finkel is a dude, and Einhorn is a woman, and they're the same person, and then you get to see the response that Mr. Ventura has when he finds out after he slept with Einhorn. So, laces out, Finkel. So Zucker, who do you guys got? I still say Elon.
Me too.
Elon. Size wins over.
He's a rotund fella.
Size wins over technique in this one.
Yeah.
It'll be great to see though, and it kind of made me think about how
Does Zuckerberg bleed?
It's green. He bleeds.
He oozes.
Yeah.
Like it's he gets
I was
squeezed
just
and like
saying,
reptile fingers come
I'm
out.
tired of pretending that I'm excited to see this.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's going to be really weird.
No, I'll tell you why. Because the way I see this, like we're on the downslope of culture, and what is more apropos than just violent fights for the heck of it in the public square, right? And that was a way that in ancient times that we would entertain. They would
But there are
entertain
no
themselves.
stakes to it. There are no stakes. Like
Memed them. Memes. Picture memes will be what comes out of this.
it's not funny. It's not funny. It's look at these two tech overlords who have both, violated your freedom of speech.
Yes.
And Pog as they fight it out in an ancient monument which they don't respect.
That's
I
a good
don't
point.
care. Like, that's lame.
I wish that they were
That's like
doing
Gen
it over
X
something.
humor. They're laughing at themselves. Like, there's just such like, I don't know. They're the epitome of like Gen Xers.
Yeah.
But I guess Zuck is a millennial.
Is
Technically.
He's an old. He's like
Cuspy.
elder. He's
an
elder
elder
millennial.
It's just very like, oh, so quirky. Like,
Lolsies.
tech overlords can be quirky too, guys.
Will there be?
I don't like
It would be more interesting if there was something at stake. Like if they were doing
if
it
there
over
were stake
Twitter.
in either of their companies.
I'm not even saying that.
If there
like,
were
come up with something
changes
silly, like,
to the policies that they enact on their platforms, but neither of them would agree to that because they're control freaks.
Well, they wouldn't be able to do that anyway because they have boards and they just it's not possible. But like,
Well, yes.
you could do something irreverent and like they have to change their logo. Like if X wins, Facebook has to change their logo to the X logo for a week or something. Like something
That's
silly.
lame.
It's lame, but I'm saying it's something.
It is,
right?
yeah, it's something.
You know what? I'm tired of being silly. I'm not in a silly mood anymore. Give me my Facebook back. Give me my Twitter back.
You're never.
Give Alex Jones his Twitter back. I'm not in a silly mood.
That was
okay?
my pitch. I said like if Zuck wins, then Musk has to unban Alex Jones, and if Musk wins, Zuck has to let Alex Jones on Facebook. Is Alex Jones on Facebook? I have no idea.
They should have a surprise
He's not.
appearance in the fight, and it should be Alex.
Yeah.
Or Tom from MySpace. That was my pitch.
It's like
Tom.
Zuck is a
May he rest.
gladiator,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
they release the lions, and it's Alex Jones.
That's a great idea. We're in an age now where look. A lot of these fighters are like, look at the Paul Bros, right? Like the Paul brothers are both very popular, but they're personalities first before they are athletes. And Jake Paul just beat who did Jake Paul just beat? He beat not Tyson Fury. He beat Nate Diaz, right? So that, and then we have Logan Paul.
I thought that was Logan against Nate Diaz.
Was that what it was? Okay, but then
now I don't know.
Then we have Logan Paul, who's been doing really, really well at WWE. People just like watching people get beat up, fake or real.
Yeah,
fake or real.
That's true.
All right.
I love this headline from Bounding Into Comics.
Go for it, Mary. Tell us all about it. This is not a biased headline at all.
The
from
Walt
Bounding Into
Disney
Comics.
Company continues to push immoral degeneracy on children, partners with man who dresses up as young girls to sell merchandise. Spot the lie. There isn't one. It's literally true. I mean, it is editorializing, but it's literally, it happened. They found their own Dylan Mulvaney. Yep. They're having their Dylan Mulvaney moment.
Should we watch this video?
Mulvaney era. I mean, if you want to subject them to watching it, like,
if I had to watch it, they have to watch it.
It's pretty bad.
Hold on, volume, and
most like me is Minnie Mouse, and I have the most perfect dress to start the look. It even has little Mickeys on it, and I love how bold of a red it is. It's just like Minnie. I'm thinking of layering a fun collar, like this one, just to give it a little more flair. But now I feel like the dress needs more shape, so let's add this white petticoat under it. It's so fun to move in, and I love how it peeks out at the bottom. And to add even more shape, this belt should do the trick. Now for hair, I'm thinking of doing space buns. So let's pull out my hair donuts, and just like that, it kinda looks like I have Minnie ears. And Minnie wears gloves, so I need gloves. I'm also gonna add this watch with Minnie and all her friends on it. It's so cute. But now, to be as bold as Minnie, I need a bold red lip. It's a classic, and it's so pretty. Now, let's add some black tights and pull out the iconic yellow pump. I'm just like Minnie Mouse. But wait, something's missing. I know. How could I forget? A giant red bow, the biggest fashion statement. And now, the look is complete. I literally look like Minnie Mouse, and I fit in perfectly with Mickey and his friends. The bow, with the dress and the shoes, really sealed the deal. Now I'm fashionable, bold, and fun, just like Minnie Mouse.
Yikes. I had to watch it. You guys have to watch it.
They're really clinging on to Minnie Mouse since Mickey is going into public domain.
Oh yeah,
soon.
I actually think that's what ends up happening. I think Minnie becomes the face of the company. I don't know how much longer.
But then when
they have her
when
for.
you lose Minnie,
there's $20 one there from Perturbed Alpaca.
He said so extremely flammable.
Look, that
I mean flamboyant.
Yes. That video is.
Are they gonna have Minnie transition?
And become
FTM,
that's how,
and then
that's how they
become
get Mickey back. She transitions and becomes Mickey.
We see what you're doing, Disney. We know what you're doing.
Genius. Bob Iger's a genius.
I think there's something like, you know, it's weird. I see these kind of videos and these people and the way they're trying to appeal to children, and like it's kind of reminiscent of like the Michael Jackson Neverland stuff to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, he swore, you know, there was never anything inappropriate with the kids that he hung out with and stuff, and
there's
that he just wanted
inappropriate about hanging out with kids, though.
100%. And like, I don't like, to me, this is not about returning to your children or to your childhood roots. Like, you know, Michael Jackson, his whole thing was that he was, you know, bereft of a childhood, deprived of a childhood. And so, you know, being with these kids and doing all this childish stuff, it made him feel like he could get one back or whatever it was.
Okay.
But I don't know how you can see this stuff and not see that this is insanely sexualized for kids. I mean, as a mother of two boys, it's very confusing right now to figure out what they can watch and on what platforms.
Did you see the video or the meme the other day? It says guy gets arrested for putting Viagra in his date's drinks because today with women you never know.
Oh my God.
Bruh.
There's a $20 one there from Cody Bedreau.
My sister and I now hate Minnie Mouse. Good to know.
Yeah. I would like to give a bonus to like whoever did all the sound effects because there's like 500.
Well, it was him.
Yeah.
Also, this person does go by he, him pronouns, which
that's even weirder.
It's even weirder.
Somehow, that's weirder.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's just I feel like you said, you're a mother of two,
Yep.
and every day I'm
Every day.
I'm just like so glad that Like it's just such like
what other
it was-
horrors
here-
beyond
here's
my
the thing, it was-
comprehension does
it
God
was
have in store for me
always-
today?
I know.
Every day.
It
I
was
know.
always an enormous responsibility to have children, to raise kids, to have a family. Now, on top of that, you have to then just worry. Thank you. Christ. Thank you, guys. It's great, right? It's great.
That was awesome.
Yes. It's
Hits you in your core.
on top of an enormous responsibility, it just feels like the world is even more predatory than it was before. And I wonder sometimes if I'm overthinking it, because there's been a lot of media over the years, right? That is, it's all the shows that taught you to be scared of like the guy outside sneaking around your house. Like
Stranger danger.
Not just that, but like stranger danger. But think about all the women who love true crime and who are then terrified into being scared of every person they meet because the media has made them scared of it. And I wonder if this is the type of thing where it's like people are being overly scared into being afraid of this stuff happening to their kids. But not really, because it's just too prevalent.
It is. It's too prevalent, and the places where moms used to trust for their children's entertainment have become the most untrustworthy, the most
Well, they
distrustful.
shouldn't have trusted them in the first place.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's why
the-
there were like moms against Disney even in the early 2000s.
Wait,
90s.
mad? Like, so like mad, like mothers against
There-
drunk driving was
But
2Ds.
there were
and-
moms
I'm
groups
talking.
like
I'm
that.
talking about something as simple as the library, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like
Yeah.
we
Oh, the
can't
public
even have our
library
kids
over
go to
here
a public
is-
library anymore.
There's the public library when I came in here and to get like some documents notarized, it's all like open borders propaganda.
Yeah.
Like it's like children's books about open borders.
How to raise an anti-racist.
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
anti-racist baby.
So
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, it's.
We should just check all of those books out and never return them.
Mary is a menace to librarians everywhere.
You know, the activist librarian is a stereotype for a reason.
Yep.
Yep. It's very, very
real
true, and it's
thing.
scary because that's the world we live in now, and your kids are not really safe anywhere they go. It's like when my brother has 2 kids, and we talk about this sometimes because he's a single dad, and I'm like, just pay very close attention to whatever they're learning in school, and do your best to be as involved in their activities as you can, and for gosh sakes, get them into sports early.
And try
That's
to
what I
just
said.
try to keep a smartphone away. But yes, I completely agree. Sports, well, and if he has girls, and
No,
that
they're-
might be a little
they're
tricky,
boys.
but
Yeah.
because men are now taking over women's sports. But yeah, I mean, sports, and I've got the 2 boys, and we want to look at Boy Scouts. But ultimately, what I feel the most confident about is the fact that my husband and his father are so hands-on, and they're just great role models. They're good men. But I would just add that I think that part of the problem too, with these schools, with these libraries, with these movies and stuff getting away with it, I just don't think moms even want to admit that it's happening. They're like in a total state of denial about it.
I mean,
they just are
that-
like, oh, this is an isolated incident. This
That's a
isn't
big
really
one.
happening. This isn't real outrage. And that's just not true. It's everywhere.
I have a couple of friends that I see regularly. That seems to be their who see the world a little bit different than I do, or you or I do, and I still consider myself pretty liberal in a lot of cases, right? But they're like their number one takeaway is always like it's overblown.
Okay, but should they not think one time is too many times?
Yeah.
Like with the issue of like, are there really AGPs invading women's restrooms? If it happened one time that I can pull up with a simple Google search, that's too many times that it happened.
Well said.
And you should agree with me that it's a problem.
Yes.
And it's coming into their media from all corners now. So yep. All right, what would you ladies like to see first, cute or cringe of the day? Let's do cringe first because we got 2 of them.
Okay.
I want to go through this first one because this one really annoyed me, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrese Gibson is the first person in history to call someone else a Karen while asking to speak to their manager. What the hell? Let's watch this
Well, that's
video.
why it became like such a racialized term. He's calling her a Karen because she's white.
Words mean nothing anymore.
Words mean nothing.
The Karen was supposed to be the person who asked for
Step
the
into
manager.
your confidence. You amplify voices and
I have to
you
add that one to the list. I don't have that one on
call
the list.
someone a Karen while asking
Amplify.
for their manager.
All right, so let's watch this video. Like, this is the most entitled celebrity, and anybody who's ever worked any retail job in their life is going to hate him after they watch this. Let's go. Hold on.
Information.
Oh, actually, let's give some context here. So what happened was he was in a Home Depot,
Okay.
And he was with two people he worked with, and basically he gave them his credit card to make a purchase because people were asking, they recognized him, like Tyrese Gibson. I love the Fast and the Furious movies. So he's like, I want to go out to the car, fine. But he gave them his credit card, and the lady's like, I can't. This isn't your name on the credit card. I need an ID. That's what's going on here. So let's watch this video. Okay.
Can you please include that information? I was just there.
He's on this is a FaceTime call.
I was just in your store, ma'am. If you're going to talk to your manager, tell your manager the truth. I was just in the store, and I gave my guys my credit card in front of your staff and team member, and I walked off.
Don't say that
I'm not there with no ID.
She doesn't
You can pull up the cameras. I was there 5 minutes ago. This is completely unnecessary, what you're doing right now. I'm not answering what?
She looks like April Ludgate.
Ma'am, should I have the CEO of Home Depot to call you tomorrow? Because he's my neighbor. He's my neighbor in Atlanta.
What a dick.
You want me to get the CEO of Home Depot to call you and tell you that this is unnecessary, what you're doing?
Yep, my manager said that's fine.
Okay, tell your manager I was just in the store. Do you want to tell him that part?
He can hear you.
Okay, manager, what is his name?
Carlos?
Carlos. What's his last name?
That's a big no-no. You do not ever give out your last name to a customer ever. Ever.
You work in Home
He's
Depot.
clearly
You work in
trying
a
to
public
weaponize
place.
his celebrity
Yes.
status against normal people, and
You're asking me for
he'll
my
put
first
this
and
out
last
there on
name. I'm
social
giving it to
media,
you.
thinking that
Tyrese
people are going to
Gibson,
defend
and those
him
guys
when
are
he's
my
obviously the villain in this situation.
It's just a bully.
Yep.
designers and builders, and I was just in your store 5 minutes ago. And you're on the phone with me asking for ID, and you're talking to the ID.
Can't he just Venmo his people?
I was just in your store. This is, I understand policy, but you know you're being extra right now.
You're being extra,
Excuse me?
huh?
Nobody in their 40s should be using the phrase being extra. I'm just saying.
Extra.
Credit card.
This is Tyrese Gibson. I was just in your store.
Store policy.
Okay, what is his last name? Store
Why?
policy.
I'm not giving you his last name.
Okay, what is
His
your
last name is Policy.
Yeah.
What is your name?
My name's Corelli.
Aurelie?
Yep, Carly.
And what's your last name?
Carly or Aurelie?
Aurelie.
I'm not giving you my last name.
I've never heard that before.
Okay, I like your bangs. You have a good night.
What a dick.
All right, Karen.
I'll go back.
Okay, Karen, take care.
I take a picture wherever I'm in the car.
That was also
Thanks,
clearly
Karen.
an insult.
Yeah.
What time
about
do
her
they close,
bangs.
Manuel?
He's suing for $1 million, calling this racial discrimination.
Off.
That's insane.
That's
What's the evidence? When did his race come into play?
only he brought this up. If Karen is indeed supposed to be a racial slur, then only
There
he
are
brought up
more
race.
videos of him inside the Home Depot arguing with them.
Like, it's
Oh my gosh.
insane, dude.
Get a
Cringe.
life.
And props to the cashier for just being like, I'm not putting up with your shit. Like,
Never backed down.
no. And like
Good for her.
The amount of like cringe to be like, I'm the CEO of Home Depot is my next door neighbor. She's just like, you have no idea how little that means to me. I'm like a high school student.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Well, also, I didn't know that stores did need to check IDs with credit cards anymore.
Oh yeah, depends, like, right? Like, so when some over a certain purchase, it won't even allow the transaction to go through without an ID that
see.
matches it.
That
right?
makes sense.
I don't know how large that purchase was, but
Right.
the point is, even if it's not, store policy says that it is, and she's not willing to risk it.
Yeah.
And she's not the bad guy for following store policy ever.
No.
Like, you can complain all you want, but no.
The fact that he thinks that people would be sympathetic to him, it just
Yeah.
shows how out of touch celebrities are. Oh my goodness, as if we all didn't know that already.
Yes.
But It's crazy.
It's bonkers, man. I can't believe that he thinks he's the good guy in this situation. Like you're the bad guy every time if you're always pushing down the poor employee, right?
Yep.
Stupid. All right, we got one more here. Mary sent me this one. Let's watch this. Here we go.
I am 25 and I do have OnlyFans.
How long you been doing that?
Just about like 2 months.
What got you into it?
I lost my grandpa. He's very close to me. I kind of want to go with his legacy and I kind of want to do it for him.
Wait a minute! You want to do OnlyFans to honor your grandfather's legacy? Was he like a corn star or something?
No, it's kind of like I've been wanting to kind of like keep his legacy going.
That will be my legacy.
I don't know if I just misheard you. You said that you are...
I don't know shit about fuck.
Yeah, can you say it again? Can you explain how you're honoring your grandfather's legacy?
He was a minister, so he didn't make much money. That's like a way that I thought would help out.
Wow! You said he passed away?
Yeah, he passed away. But
so help him out beyond the grave? I'm just confused.
You said he was a minister?
Yeah, so he did like weddings, funerals, etc., etc.
Let me get this straight.
You started an OnlyFans to pay homage to your now deceased grandfather, who was a religious man and minister.
That doesn't make sense. Do you think your grandfather, do you think he would approve of the OnlyFans? Do you think he would disapprove?
I think he would support me, but...
That's stupid! Use your common sense! You mentioned that you don't want to bring shame on your family. Do you think it might possibly bring shame on them to do nude stuff? What do you think?
I don't think so. If I go deep down into my mom's opinion about it. Oh no. She might be open to it. She's a really cool mom, so.
Is your dad still in the picture?
I've never met my dad.
All makes sense now.
Really?
Yeah, he's out of the picture.
Sorry to hear that.
That's okay. I don't really need a dad. I think I could handle myself.
Sure.
Well, now just
okay, moving
sad.
on.
Everyone needs a dad, even if you don't have one. Sorry to that girl who doesn't have one, but everyone needs one. Clearly.
Like, is this just the type of thing where she's just never actually had anything questioned before? Where like she just says
why did
things?
she think that? It sounded like she was very prepared for answering that question, like, why did you start an OnlyFans? And it was that, like, that was her scripted answer.
Brutal.
Oh, how did you do the show, Mary? How did you talk to?
I don't know. And another clip from the episode I was on just went viral. I don't know if I should like say anything about it, but it's just like, if you react to some of this crazy shit that they say, you're giving them what they want.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. All right. Well, that's not good. All right, let's do
R.I.P. to her grandpa, though.
I know, man. Storm the beaches of Normandy to
for this.
It's fine. All right, let's do cute of the day to cleanse the palate, ladies and gentlemen. First, from Maria on Twitter, says, weirdo, and I like the soul patch. It's my favorite part.
Oh, I didn't see that. I like that.
It's giving Howie Mandel vibes, and I'm kind of here for it.
I love this scared cat.
It's adorable. And this one here, this is from Brian Smith, says, this is Simba. He has 2 brain cells and bites, but I love him anyways.
Oh. I got confused at first. He was blending in.
Yeah.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah. And we got one more. This one made me laugh because it says, not my pet. I found it on a Discord I'm part of.
I thought you were going to say, like, I found it on the side of the road or something. Okay, cute, I guess. I mean, it's not your pet, so.
But, okay. All right, guys. Well, now that we are officially 50 minutes in, let's get started, shall we?
Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it. So, guys, Barbie has been banned in Kuwait. Mary, tell everyone why.
They decided that this runs against their country's values, social traditions, and public ethics because it promotes homosexuality and transsexuality, supports rejecting a father's guardianship, undermines and ridicules the role of the mother, and questions the necessity of marriage and having a family. Honestly, except for the homosexuality point, I kind of see it.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't remember
kind of
any
agree.
gay characters in the movie.
I don't think that there were any gay characters.
If there were,
in the
I don't remember it.
Or it was just the fact that the Kens all look vaguely gay looking.
Have you enjoyed watching people argue about it online?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I want to see it. It's not for lack of interest. But I mean, how does, I mean, I guess it's Kuwait, whatever. But I mean, this kind of outrage is fantastic publicity for this movie. So it's not.
You know what?
accomplishing
True.
they want.
Like all of its box office success was not hinging on Kuwait's audiences, but Lebanon is also seeking to follow suit and ban the movie altogether, and it has a delayed release date in the Middle East. Which I'm surprised that it's getting released in like Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but
period.
it made big money in China. It did really well in China.
And China, like they didn't push back on the fact that there was a trans Barbie. The thing is, the actor is trans. The character is not trans. I think by definition, you can't make a doll character trans because they don't have genitalia. But like, you get my point, right?
Who was the trans actor?
Hari Nef. I mean, you can immediately tell who the trans actor is when they start speaking, or before that, if you already were prepared. And it's distracting.
Yeah.
It is. You can't just ignore that that's there. It's very obvious. The voice was incredibly clocky. And I don't know, maybe they were leaning into that. But I mean, in a way, it is promoting that because you can't ignore the fact that this person is in the movie. I mean, if it were someone who's more passing, maybe you would overlook it, but it's definitely in your face. We got a $20 from Disco Jensen without a message, by the way.
Thank you, Disco Jensen.
Thank you.
Yeah, but also the big part of it here is like the fact that they're so focused on family. And the message right at the very beginning of this movie is very clearly anti-motherhood.
So they reject a father's guardianship. I want to talk about this. So Barbie's human companion that she meets in the real world, played by America Ferrera, is accompanied by her teenage daughter, and they, as humans, go to Barbie World for the first time. And when they're running away from the real world, they're like, what is dad gonna think? And then the mom is like, oh, he'll be fine, forget him. And they kind of just run along on their merry way without saying anything. And every time that this husband is on camera, he just comes off as a total buffoon, and it's on purpose. You're supposed to laugh at him. He's like naively trying to learn Spanish to relate to something that matters to his wife, and you're supposed to laugh at him for it.
Clint Torres has a $20 one. He says, do you want to read that one?
Okay, he said the homosexual references were pretty blatant amongst the Kens with their talk of beaching each other off.
Yeah.
Okay, that was just an innuendo joke, but that's not saying that the Kens were gay. They are just... They're speaking a certain way because they don't have sexuality in their universe.
But they might have interpreted it that way.
That's
Kuwait
true.
might have interpreted it that way. That makes sense.
And
Good
they were
catch,
like, no one is going to beach anyone off. That's what they intervened and said. So they were like, they were rejecting the father figure in that family structure, or just not acknowledging him.
Yeah.
And then undermining and ridiculing the role of the mother comes from the very beginning of the movie.
The destruction of the dolls.
Where they, they say, playing with baby dolls can be fun at first, but then you get tired of it. And that's why Barbie came along, so that girls could fantasize about their adult life without necessarily a husband or kids involved, and an idealized version of that. So, yeah, it is undermining the importance of, like, I guess, role-playing the role of a mother when you're still a kid.
You just don't see as many movies that are blatantly pro-family anymore.
No.
I mean,
And
there are
then,
so
like-
many women who are mothers who are, I mean, everybody hates this reference, but like, look at Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, you can't tell me that a woman cannot succeed just because she has children. It's so insulting. It's so reductive. Pisses me off.
That one's I mean, that's also like when people think of those examples, they immediately go for ones of financial success rather than, I guess, scholarly, or that's political success, right? But like if we're talking corporate CEOs and stuff like that, it does end up becoming harder because they have a harder time settling down, because like we always talk about, men who get married don't necessarily need to meet someone that's on their same financial wavelength. Even the wealthiest of female CEOs tend to marry someone that's equally as well-to-do or equally as successul as them, right?
That's true.
I started watching the show called Special Ops Lioness. I gave up after like one episode.
Oh, you gave up? I heard it was really good. Okay.
As much as I like Taylor Sheridan, but in the show, the main character, like she's in the military. She works for the CIA, but she's in a detachment with Special Forces. And she comes home to her husband, who takes care of the kids. And the thing is like, yes, that probably does happen, but it's not going to speak to the viewers in the same way, because in the real world, what you would expect is that the guy works at the CIA and comes home to a wife that takes care of the kids.
Yeah.
Is that all the examples? No, obviously there are outliers. Fine. But when you get to these jobs where there's somebody working for like a Fortune 500 company, you know, or even let's go with actresses. Some of the biggest people they'll end up marrying, if it's not a fellow actor, they're bankers, they own restaurants, they're businessmen, right? They are as financially successful as they are celebrity successful, meaning they might have money, but they've also made a lot of money through their name, right? They have a lot of social value because they're famous. That person might not be famous, but has amassed wealth for himself. So it's harder to be a female and successful. Thank you again. Second crisis party. So you don't see a lot of movies. Don't see a lot of movies that seem to celebrate traditional family structure the way that it used to. And let's be honest, in most cases these days, it's not one parent staying home; it's both parents working.
Honestly,
Anyways,
I don't think that America Ferrera's character needed to have a daughter or a husband anyway.
Yeah.
For the story to make sense.
I guess they could have had the husband be dead. Like maybe the husband died, or was just yeah. Barbie had plenty of. Dark humor.
What if it maybe would make more sense if she were a childless, unmarried executive at Mattel?
Yeah.
She's playing with these Barbies. She's depressed. And there's an
might be somehow
actual
weird.
explanation
That might be
for the
weird,
fact
though.
that she's feels empty inside and is thinking about her mortality and stuff like that, thinking about her menopause symptoms.
Yeah.
That would make more sense than her just having this ancillary husband who doesn't matter and a daughter who hates Barbie and thinks she's a fascist. Yeah. They were unnecessary characters altogether.
But no, I mean, I think that's such a good such a good point, because you know, it's like if you are a woman who is fulfilled, you have the motherly role and stuff. I mean, you know, you're not. I'll just say it's definitely like the feminists, the ones who reject traditional family values, that want to see this whole buffet of people that they can become, I guess, through Barbie. You know, I mean, like if you're
a buffet of people. That's...
Yes, but I mean, like if you are, you know, to be a woman fulfilled by motherhood, you know, sometimes you don't need that professional edge. You're just happy with being a mother, and I think that's something that I think sometimes men don't understand, or single women.
Well, that's looked down upon now. You're not supposed to just be happy being a mom.
And I didn't like that the message was also turned around on men, like, oh, you don't need women to be enough. You don't need women to give you validation, when like we need each other.
Yeah.
Like women need men need women. It's just a fact of life. And, you know, you'd seem a lot more humble to just accept that about yourself, that you don't get fulfillment from within yourself. It's not possible.
I wonder if this is just a symptom of the fact that back in the day, the people who would write these movies and television shows would be more traditionally married anyways. I mean, Greta Gerwig she does have a partner. Her husband, or I don't think they're married, but her long-term partner, Noah Baumbach.
I think they're married.
He wrote the movie with her, right? So they're together. But like back in the day, movies with traditional values were written by people who also lived traditional values at home, perhaps. Like they actually had wives, they actually had kids. So what they're speaking about is what they know. Whereas now we're in this push to just not need anyone ever. Yeah. It's like maybe it's because divorce rates have skyrocketed so high and people are constantly bombarded with like what the odds are of their marriage working. So there's a lot of natural cynicism there. And that comes out of it. I don't know, but it's a bummer, because I would like movies to be aspirational, just like I like comic books. I don't want Superman to look like me. I want to look like Superman. I want people to aspire to in the media. So if that means that what I'm looking at is a little bit not bland, but if it's a little bit aspirational is the word for it, right? It's like if it's a little bit unrealistic, sure, but it's something to aspire to. It's something to reach for. Well, it's like they don't even try.
That's interesting too that you said that about the Superman thing, because that's how I felt about when they were banning all the Victoria's Secret angels.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that later.
I know. I'm like, I am so ready for that topic. But it's the same thing. That's aspirational.
Yeah.
I want them to look sexy. I want to look sexy when I'm buying their stuff. I don't want, dumpy the dumpy.
Is the idea now supposed to be like you buy it knowing that you're going to look better? Like that's how they market it now. It's like I'm going to look better.
Oh gosh,
than
at least I don't look like that. Yeah, Hobgoblin.
Yes.
At least I don't look like Jabba the Hutt over there.
Right.
Well, okay. Before we move on, I wanted to give an update on the 1975. The frontman Maddie Healy pulled an LGBT stunt in Malaysia at a music festival. It got canceled the next day because that's illegal there. And the rest of the acts who were on this festival were screwed over because they didn't get to play. All of the vendors there didn't get to make money for the next day that this festival was to continue. And he just decided to, fly back to England, no consequences. And turns out he's going to have to pay his comeuppance.
$2.6
million within 7 days, or he's facing legal action in England. So yeah, F you, Maddie Healy. You deserve this.
Let me just give you here's a fun thought exercise on how globalism works when you're reading this headline. It says, this is from Pitchfork. It says the 1975 ordered to pay $2.6 million in damages for criticizing homophobic laws in Malaysia. That could very easily be changed to the 1975 ordered to pay $2.6 million for xenophobic rant about foreign cultures.
Yeah.
There
were a lot of woke people criticizing him for doing this because they're saying you're not respecting other people's cultures.
That's globalism.
And you are being a white savior and lecturing other countries on how they should operate.
What type of hell is it where Maddie Healy is your white savior?
Yeah, I don't.
Of all the white saviors.
Don't save me.
There's a $20 there from Philip Reed.
If anybody needs a quick laugh, look up the shot of Ke Huy Quan scaring Biden. It makes for a good chuckle.
I wonder if it's the same way he snuck up behind Harrison Ford at the Oscars or something like that. He's great. That actor's great. But yeah, it could very easily be looked at as look, you're not respecting their culture. Sure, you disagree with them, but in polite society, you're supposed to be able to disagree with people, but you do have to abide by the rules when you're there.
He's not paying damages for criticizing their laws. If he had just gone on his rant and left it at that, nothing would have happened. The festival probably would have continued. But it was because he decided to start making out with his male bass player on stage in front of everyone for clapter. That's why that was considered illegal.
Is that true?
You're allowed to. I mean, I'm sure that a performer from the West is allowed to make political statements on stage in Malaysia. It was the fact that he was doing an obscene, by their laws, an obscene action on a public stage in their country that was, grounds for legal action.
Yeah.
So, no, it wasn't just you use your free speech to criticize unfair laws. It was you being obscene and gross and sexual on stage.
Yep.
Which would have happened to anyone, gay or not.
Do you think that this is something that we'll see more of from bands that are going to start to speak out and say, look, it's worth because they're not going to end up picking up the tab for this. Their label will end up picking up the tab for this, I'm sure.
But if they keep doing it, the labels are going to be sick of it and they're going to say no more. You pick up the consequences. Pick up the tab for your woke scolding.
They'll have to see what if it benefited their records. He's like, look, I understand that Taylor Swift fans ran you through the ringer, right? I know you're hurting, bro.
Yeah, he's trying to repair his reputation. Haha, get it? After breaking up with Taylor Swift. Yep. But it didn't work. It didn't work out for him. He's trying to regain his public image as a woke male feminist progressive. But it's just disingenuous. And he said that in the past, it's disingenuous to performatively repeat these liberal orthodoxies all the time, and yet he's doing it.
Yeah. People don't realize...
The fact that he knows better makes it all the more embarrassing.
It's kind of like you were pointing out about what happened with the police officer and the lady who got... the teenager who got arrested for...
Yeah, there was this teenage girl, literally this autistic teenage girl in the UK who asked a police officer if she were a lesbian. And then it's a team of 10 police officers follow back to her apartment. And she's literally hiding in a cabinet or something, hiding in a hidey hole corner of her house while they're trying to drag her out and arrest her for hate speech for asking this police officer if she's gay. Which obviously she was. They pan to her and she just looks like the most despicable person on earth. Looks like she is probably Megan Rapinoe's biggest fan. And I saw that and I was just like, this isn't even a free speech issue. It's just an issue of like, you're a monster.
Yeah.
And it speaks to you how good we have it here a lot of the time.
I mean, a lot of the time, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
Here's I'm looking for the Biden video here.
Mr. President!
Oh gosh. Hold on, I'm putting.
Wait, what video?
Oh, this is the video of him scaring Biden apparently.
Mr. President!
Who the hell is this guy? Are you with him?
Yes, this is my wife, Echo.
What an honor this is. Wow. Okay, I gotta ask for one thing. You may not know this, but I love getting selfies. This would be the selfie of all selfies.
Ready?
Yes.
Is this supposed to be funny? I'm not laughing. I'm cringing.
Yeah, it could have been the cringe moment.
Yeah, that's another cringe of the day. Thank you for putting us through that.
Happy to help. I'm happy to emotionally terrorize all of you.
Okay, it's time to get to some super chats.
Let's do it.
Grin said, day 8, Mabga, y'all. Does the guest support it too? Mabga is Make American Bullying Great Again. Do you support this?
If it's what I think it is, like...
She's just saying that, maybe if people got bullied a little bit more, we wouldn't have so much evil in the world.
We wouldn't have so many furries and degenerates and weirdos.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes. I mean, because
it's powerful coming from a mom.
Yeah, because I think that the reason
Big
why
endorsement.
everything's gotten so crazy is because we're being so accepting of weirdos lately. So yes, I think so.
Anti-bullying campaigns were also futile from the start because kids are so mean and you can't take that out of them.
You'll never get rid of mean from kids. It probably ruined all of the shows involving I love One Tree Hill. I admit that fully.
I love Gossip Girl.
Don't at me. And
don't at me. Don't at me either.
A lot of things is like a lot of the shows like that. It involves there's at least one character who's just a dick to everybody.
Yes, in Gossip Girl, it's Chuck.
And back in the day, there was a thing the other day where a guy's like. It was like somebody saying they were on a bus in New York City. Was this you telling me about this? And like, I guess 2 women were like kissing on the bus, and the guy's like, "Could you not do that here?" And then he goes, "By the way, I'm not homophobic. I'm just a dick." Like back in the day, you were allowed to just be an asshole.
Yeah, just be an asshole.
You did.
It's like the video in like the subway or the coffee shop or something where there's 2 people touching foreheads. They're like, "Is that allowed? Is that allowed?"
But it's.
No, I mean, there is no shame anymore, though, and I think it's because people are too nice and they just roll over for all these creeps and weirdos. So
Mary's like, quote that one, cut that out, post that one.
Mm-hmm.
We need more shame. Shame.
C2 Gaming said, work week done. Hope you had a good one too. This is going to be a great show. Let's try this again. Shout out to the Discord and Drina and Bad Kitty Mama.
Shout out.
And
it is technically our work week is not done, or we're still working. But yes,
yeah, we're in the middle
and a
of
happy Friday to you, my friend.
Shane H. Wilder said, the fire near me is now out. Luckily, I didn't have to evacuate. Missed y'all yesterday. And the merry foul-mouthed tirade. Why do I always miss the effing fun? Was there a tirade? Like, I don't remember going on a foul-mouthed tirade.
I heard one F.
There was an F word yesterday.
But it was well deployed.
Like 1 or 2. I mean, it gives it
one.
more like
It's
strength.
like network. It's like in television, you're allowed 1 F word per season on cable.
We don't do seasons on this show.
No, we don't, because like I have to upload the Spotify episode every day, and it says season 1, episode 400.
We're still in season 1.
We're
guys.
still in season 1. But like in network, in cable TV, you're allowed one F word per year. So Breaking Bad would always like very, very carefully deploy it towards the end of the season at a very, very important point. Yeah.
Hiroshima Otaru said, genre fatigue is an excuse for bad movies failing.
Yep, if you make good movies, nobody will care.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's do one more, and then we will move on.
I think there was some kind of glitch here, because it says that Corey Anderson sent this like 4 times.
No,
but he said, hey, Mary, nice to see you wear something that isn't black.
This one says, isn't dark on this one. So it must have sent...
You just sent 2 different versions of the same message.
It might not have let one go through, because I don't have the one you're saying.
Okay.
So Tacty Platty also says...
it backfired on me because I spilled tea on myself in 2 huge places that are fortunately cut off by my shot today.
Yes.
And Tacty Platty said, Brett, thanks for being fire. Basically a Tom Brady.
Yes, that's me. Giselle would have, like, if she hadn't found that personal trainer first.
Did he mean hot or did he mean fire?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we'll say both. How about that? But like I said, if she hadn't met that personal trainer guy first, I'm sure I would have had a shot.
If it weren't for you meddling personal trainers.
Exactly. All right, let's hold off on the rest, guys. So Mia Khalifa is back in the news because last week we discussed she went on a pro-divorce rant where she basically said, if your marriage isn't working out, I know the paperwork is difficult, but you gotta fill it out anyways and just leave your men because men are evil.
Yeah.
Well, she has since been threatened with rape and unaliving, and that is not good. And she went on another tirade, did she not, Mary?
Yeah, she's doubled down on her take, which is weirdly not anti-marriage. She's gotten married twice and engaged 3 times. Broke off her recent engagement. She's not anti-marriage. She is pro-divorce specifically.
She loves divorce.
But her clarification here is such a cop-out because she's saying, oh no, this isn't about marriage in general. It's only if you get married young and you're in a toxic relationship that's unhealthy or abusive or da-da-da. But in the original video, it didn't mention that at all. It just said, if you're not 1000% happy and satisfied in your relationship for any reason whatsoever, leave the person.
What I think we have here is people talking at each other and not to each other. I think that there's...
You love reaching across the aisle.
There's nuance here that's not being explored by either side. But let's watch the first clip here.
She's sounding very unhinged in all of these videos, by the way.
Is it?
I think she's like reeling from the broken engagement.
That's what I was going to say. She sounds like a heartbroken woman who's like flailing.
Here we go.
We should not be afraid to leave these men. I woke up to 30,000 unalive and grape threats on Twitter today over
I'm
that
sure it
take,
was 30,000 and you
really
counted them
failing
all
to
one
see
by
what's
one.
wrong with it. I'm failing to see what's wrong in telling young women who get married young that if they are in relationships that are unhealthy and toxic and make them unhappy, that just because they made a commitment, they are not stuck in these relationships. The only people who are mad, it seems like to me, are the men who are the toxic ones in these relationships and who are afraid of their women having self-realization and exercising free will and leaving them. Because the only thing holding their relationships
She's like
together
on the verge of tears.
is probably the fact that they made a commitment and their religion and families fucking perpetuate that ideal that you have to stay in a relationship you committed to. You don't. If you're unhappy, get the fuck out of there.
Okay. Remember, marriage is a sanctimonious thing, Mary. She called...
I love how she's putting quotes around commitment as if marriage isn't like some kind of fake commitment. Like, girl, if it's fake, why did you do it twice?
Yep.
Why were you almost going to do it 3 times? If it's just paperwork, if it doesn't matter,
It's just
if you
tax
can
breaks.
leave at any time, why? I just don't understand. And she's putting quotes around like religion and family, like things that actually matter to the rest of the world who aren't, past and current corn stars.
Yep.
Sorry to say it, but I mean, it's true. We're not taking advice from you. You don't have any credibility.
There is a certain amount of disdain held nowadays for the idea of not just accepting that you're not going to be 100% happy all the time.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be 110% happy all the time. There was a video that was going around yesterday. I wish I'd pulled it up now. Did you see this video? So it's a lady. She's sitting across from somebody at a restaurant. Right?
Okay.
And somebody's going to put a ring on her finger. And like...
Oh, no, I saw
so
this.
stuff starts flashing before her eyes like she's doing
cleaning
dishes.
pots and
She's cleaning
pans.
pots and pans. She's
Rocking
folding laundry.
the baby.
But the thing is, like, the big ones were cleaning. I'm like, don't you clean when you're single?
Right.
What
No,
the
she
hell?
just lives in a filthy ass pig den.
Like, but the idea here is it's the cynical view towards any type of
Filthy-ass pig
commitment whatsoever. Like, you're going to be locked down. Guess what? In 20 years, the rocking of the baby and the cleaning of dishes and pots and pans pays itself off in the people that sit around your bedside when you're dying.
Yes.
It does. Okay? Like...
and it's weird because it's the young, impressionable, cute girl giving all of this propaganda to the other young, impressionable, cute girls. It's sad.
When my mom passed, I don't think she worried about having to fold laundry or do dishes or cook food or rock
so
babies.
much time
What mattered was that
taking care of my children.
my brother, my uncles were all there to be with her when she passed. These people, there's a culture now that tells you constantly, whether it's from Hollywood, whether it's from social media, think about now. think about instant gratification. Do not think about the future, because Social Security is going to be gone in 20 years and you won't be able to afford a house and everything's going to be awful anyways. It's defeatist, it's nihilistic, it's pathetic.
And narcissist.
And it's extremely narcissistic, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's insane.
Let's
There's a $20 one there first from Tim from Benrick 5.
He said Tim said it right. Super marriage should be a thing. Sorry. Married with 3+ kids, living together, no taxes. I mean, selfishly, I would benefit, but I love it. Hungary has family benefits.
Yeah. Yep.
P.S. Preview any content your kids might watch.
Absolutely check out anything, especially if it's new, right? That's why so many people.
I don't understand super marriage.
So if you get married and you have more than 3 kids, you don't pay taxes.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
I've never heard of that phrase before.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, to his point, you know, you have to watch everything. You have to pre-watch what you're showing your kids. You have to pre-read what you're letting your kids consume. And, you know, with my 2 boys, they're both very young now, so I still am not having to worry about their own interest too much. I still have mostly control. But we've just been mostly watching like kids stuff that I watched when I grew up, because old Barneys are available and old Blue's Clues are available. And, you know.
You should show them Paw Patrol for that police propaganda. You want to get the kids the police propaganda.
I mean, my kids love Paw Patrol. Oh my God, that theme song. Oh, I listen to it 4,000 times a day. Anyways.
If you want to know, also, just this is a minor aside, but like if you're wondering how the TikTok rabbit hole is awful, this is what was the next suggested video when we watch this. It says, made breast milk popsicles for concrete.
I've seen that before.
Why?
Yeah, it says trying breast milk popsicle limeade for concrete.
It's gross.
And then next to it looks to be a Brett Cooper video. So I don't know how those end up in the same place together, but you know, that's what it is.
We've got more videos from Mia Khalifa about this subject to review next.
Here we go.
Oh my God, of course it's not that easy if you have kids, but what do you want to teach your kids? Do you want to teach them to put up with things simply for the betterment of someone else? And at the end of the day, is it for the betterment of your children if you're unhappy?
This is sad.
Literally, the definition of tolerance is to put up with something for the betterment of someone else because you have empathy. So,
well, also family in a lot of ways.
Yes, that is something that you teach your
indulging.
kids.
Family is a lot about not indulging your personal whims and desires for the sake of those you love.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, guys. So that's the narcissistic culture that we live in. And maybe narcissistic culture wouldn't be so bad if they weren't trying to then speak on issues that have nothing to do with that shouldn't have anything to do with a narcissistic point of view, which is marriage and family and kids.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Caught one. All right.
Did you see that Kim Kardashian quote where she said, like, I'm choosing my happiness and I'm prioritizing my happiness for the first time in my life.
Oh my
And
gosh.
maybe it caused my divorce, but who cares? I'm choosing myself. Like,
yep.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever not chosen yourself.
Yeah.
Let's watch this one. We got one more here. It says, not about paperwork. Not everyone has the luxury that you do because you have money. Not only is marriage far-fetched because of expenses, divorce. I'm just reading it word for word.
Excuse me? Baby girl, divorce is expensive for everybody, especially if you're the one who has to pay the alimony to the broke-ass bum. What you are saying with this statement
It's
is
a
that
bum when
you
it's a man.
personally
It's
would
not when it's a
sacrifice your
woman.
independence and your freedom and your
point.
peace of mind and your happiness for a little financial stability? At what price? At what cost? To me, that seems way more expensive than, I don't know, a couple $1,000s to break up. What? Like, y'all really gotta stop conditioning yourselves to feel like you can't take care of yourself. You are not at the whims of these men. You can leave and start your own
really good
life.
pedicure.
You should leave and
Manicure.
start your own life if you're not happy with everything.
everything
should meet your standards. Otherwise, get the fuck out.
What about someone else's standards? What if you're not meeting their standards?
Yeah.
We can't all just exist as soulless, individualist automatons.
And there it is right there. It's the idea that you're going to be 100% happy all the time. Funny how that is, that like everyone thinks that you're going to be 100% happy all the time, and what we've ended up with is a culture that's like less happy than it's ever been.
It's the most depressed and anxious culture. It's so sad.
She's saying this as she's like, Prozac, so loved. Like
Probably,
there's a $20 one there from Dragon's Talon 1001.
Marriage is not about the parents' narcissism. It is a duty to raise the children for the future generations.
I mean, but not all marriages have children, right? Like, I mean, we're assuming that here, but like the idea is not so.
Well, it's also like you give yourself to your children. You also pour everything into your spouse and not yourself.
Yeah.
And that's
marriage is not about self-care.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so fulfilling about marriage. You know, you want to make that person happy and serve that person, and you want to build this beautiful life together, this whole thing. So it's really sad that she's saying this and she's feeling this way. It sounds like she probably never should have I guess gotten married. I don't think she was with the right people, but you know, when you make that commitment, there's a reason why it's a commitment. So I don't know. She's really sad. She's a sad woman.
Is there one more? I think there's one more.
I believe there's one where she calls her critics virgin incels.
Do you know how I know that people who make comments like these are absolute virgin incels? Because 23 people over 10 years, I'm 30, is 2.5 people a year.
Yeah, so this is based on a TikTok trend where you would compare yourself as a woman to a car and give like a mileage and number of owners that you've had, which is really kind of misogynistic and degrading if you think about it.
Just a little bit.
Of course, all the women with the highest body counts were the ones participating because they have this weird like shame instinct to like push all of their dirty laundry onto the public and judge them.
Or are they is it like a weird type of bragging? Are they bragging?
But also
it's kind of like when people say, "Oh, it's like a dude has a one night stand."
It's a cry for help, honestly.
And then people like say something about it. He's like, I feel judged. What you're doing is bragging, but you're saying I feel judged. But you're bragging.
Yeah. It's bragging, but it's also like a cry for help in my opinion. But she said like her mileage is 10 years. So it's 100K miles and then 23 owners. Mia Khalifa, relatively low body count for an ex or current porn star.
Yes. Yeah.
To be fair, but that's high in my opinion.
You ever heard the Chris Rock skit where he talks about like this was like in '96 and he's talking. He doesn't say body count, but he's talking about he's like women only count their boyfriends. They don't count all the miscellaneous.
That's probably true.
He's like they don't count all the miscellaneous dick they've had.
Miscellaneous.
He's talking about the guy at the club. The time she effed Bobby Brown, like it's they just count their boyfriends. He goes, why do you want to know? He's like, because no matter what number she tells you, it's too many for you. It's too much for you. Like, why would you want to know? So, but nowadays,
everyone who disagrees with me, Khalifa, is a virgin incel.
Exactly. That's exactly
Just
what it is.
so you know.
I think that narcissism I think you hit the nail on the head, that it really does have a lot to do with the fact that we don't really put any value on doing for others anymore. Yeah. Like you're expected to seek out your own happiness, and the idea of marriage is now supposed to be that it's about that marriage making you happy.
Yeah.
Rather
it's supposed
than
to be about self-sacrifice. And that's like a reason why people aren't getting married and becoming parents as much, or at least they're waiting way longer. And it's also probably one of the reasons why there's like a priest shortage or a nursing shortage, or like all of these different.
Is there a nursing shortage?
Yeah. All of these different, career paths or lifestyles that require self-sacrifice are suddenly having shortages. Gee, I wonder why.
Maybe they all got injured from those dancing TikTok videos and they were tired.
I hated those.
They were like.
Or they all got hired off by.
Well, those were the remaining ones.
Yeah, like that. Have you seen the video? It's like me. It's like a guy. It's like he's got the thing with the banana bag with the fluids. He's like, I just got told I've got a month to live, and then he's like looks out the window and it's a nurse dancing outside. It's that was a crazy time.
Yes, it was.
That was like the propaganda.
I'd rather
was real.
forget.
The amount of people like I loved the rationalizations. Like they're just blowing off steam.
No, they're saying they're coping with the trauma.
Yes.
The trauma of treating people with COVID.
That was my favorite.
Really?
They're just blowing.
Can they do that at the break room? Can they not post it?
Yeah, does it need to be posted?
Wow.
Right? Like they want to keep everybody else in good spirits, and like, really? Is that really what it is?
I'm just like over there on a ventilator dying of COVID and I'm watching a nurse twerk and I'm like, wow, I'm like holding on for dear life.
Did you also see the video recently of the lady who's like, it's a guy, he's in an emergency room. And he's like, they said I need a splint, and he zooms in, and it's a nurse looking up how to do a splint on the computer, and he's just like, bro.
Well, it's like I'm glad that like whatever the bill was, like it was some absurd amount.
6
oh my
figures
god,
or something. Yeah,
so funny.
That's what happens now.
How to wrap a splint?
That's like it's like you've been doing this for how long? And that is scary stuff right there, right? So what you're saying is they're not all like the doctors in those medical shows.
No.
That's the problem here. Do you think that are there any influencers that can counter this type of narrative? Because like what she's saying is not unique. What she's saying is very much ingrained in the culture, and not just from somebody who does adult films. Yeah. This is ingrained in culture at all levels.
Gotta be Bobby Althoff.
No.
26-year-old mother of 2. She suddenly has a podcast. No one knows why it's successful.
Tell Sydney Sweeney, have some kids quick and get married. You influence people.
Actually, that's true. If Sydney Sweeney became a young mom, like who knows how many stupid girls would think, I can do that too.
And there is a dark corollary here, which is the trad wife movement, which is, it's a great in concept, but has become, these things end up becoming sort of
they make everything
overblown.
Everything they do cringe, and no one wants to be cringe, so
but also,
they're not
like,
going to follow you.
It's not trad to be online and have a huge social media following, and just because you're promoting ideals doesn't mean you necessarily live those ideals.
Yeah.
And a lot of times
there was one that literally cosplays as Marilyn Monroe and said that she like basically is a live-in girlfriend who like makes cookies. I don't know. Like that's not trad.
No, that's wacky. That's crazy.
But I'm saying like the internet loves an exaggerated story, right? So you don't succeed by being measured and even keel. You succeed by pushing yourself to the edges of these ideas.
Right.
And the edge of that idea is like the cover of an issue of Red Book from the 50s, but even worse somehow, right? So if you have to choose between that and Mia Khalifa, the public is starved for maybe some more rational takes closer to the middle.
Well, I think that's right. Very much so starved. As a mother, and having my mommy friends and my little mommy group and stuff, it's crazy what we're exposed to on Instagram. Like as mothers, like the way we're supposed to interact with our kids from these like influencers, these experts,
the
like
momfluencers.
it's a crazy. Like
you can't tell your kids no because that's like destructive to their emotional health or something crazy like that.
Yes, I mean there's
you
so
have to
much.
Let them draw on the walls and
I mean no, it's true though. There's so much judgment and there's so much pressure from these accounts. I was like I followed a couple and I was like, this is crazy, I'm unfollowing. But that was an easy thing for me to do. These other women that I know, they lose sleep over this stuff, and it's really
Do you follow,
crazy.
Ballerina Farm?
Yes,
I knew it.
Yes,
she's a good example, I think.
Here's some pushback. Radioactive Girl Scout says, "Why don't ever talk about being better men and husbands?" That's a different sphere here, right? So like men are having their own conversations, and there are plenty of debates going on right now about your Jordan Peterson versus your Andrew Tates. Right? Like about what it means to be a good husband, to be a good provider in a society now that tells you both you're supposed to be a provider, but also independent woman, don't need no man. The ideas are very muddled because we didn't know how to react to a society that became more equal, right? Like my generation grew up with everyone, all the girls being told, like, look, go become a CEO, become president, do all these things. Boys weren't really taught how to deal with the change in gender dynamics, and for that cause, it is fair to have the discussion about, how do you be a better husband and a better father in a culture that doesn't really seem to want to give great examples of how to be a better husband or father other than just listen to your wife. That seems to be the mainstream narrative, is just be a doormat.
Happy life.
Exactly, right? So that's a valid point. There are discussions that should be had there, but it seems
Not
like
here.
We're not here to have those discussions. We're here to make fun of stuff. But at the end of the day, like, it seems like the people who end up having these discussions, the men are the ones that are going to criticize men, and the women are the ones that are going to criticize women.
Yeah, no, and that's right. I mean, these women online, these moms. Sorry, I'm obviously stuck on this mom thing, but they do. They criticize each other. They criticize themselves constantly. They put so much pressure on themselves. I mean, like one of the biggest fake things I've heard is how many moms feel like they're so pressured to breastfeed. Yep. And I mean, I guess I got that maybe a little bit in the hospital, but nobody makes breastfeed moms feel lesser than formula, like moms who formula feed. But online, the way that everybody talks about how it's
Mom
this big
Facebook
thing,
groups are the devil.
They are. They're crazy.
They're the devil.
And anyway, all this to say, I can see if you're like, dabbling into the mom Instagram influencer territory, how that would be extremely overwhelming as somebody who's, if you're a new mom or wanting to maybe be a mom or something, like if that's what your example is, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the alternative is nothing better.
Yes.
We just
It's
live in
extremes.
Like there's like, I really do think the internet is the downfall of society in a lot of ways. There is no right answer to any of this, because you're just allowing too many opinions to puncture your brain and affect your behavior, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, you have to just do what works for you and figure things out the best you can. But if all you're going to do is look to the internet for advice or for guidance, you're never going to get a balanced take.
Well, and this is the problem with the influencer thing, and again, going back to the mom thing, but like, you have these women all calling each other strong and brave for basically having postpartum meltdowns on their phones. And it's like, it's really sad and tragic. Like, these women need,
it's like about visibility and like being vulnerable on social media.
Yes.
And like, it's not just to show the highlight reel, but actually you're broadcasting something that should be private.
Yes, it should be private, and you should talk to your doctor. Honest to God.
I've seen videos like that that are like, I don't love my baby. What do I do, guys? Like,
like this is normal, right?
Stop posting about it on TikTok. I don't know.
Well, also, like, imagine, like your child sees this one day, like my kid, like there was one woman who's like, my kid is like my little mini fucking mirror, and just swear word after swear word and all this, and it's like the comments are truly women, you are so brave, you're saying what we're all thinking, and it's like, geez,
you don't need to say everything.
You don't need to say it. And also, like, if you really have this urge to really talk like this, you really should talk to somebody.
You ever seen that video where the girl's going through the trauma of a breakup, and she's just screaming on her bed like this, going like this, and you're just like, so what you're telling me, and you're telling me like you set up a tripod, put your phone on a tripod, and then go.
What I think is so fascinating about this whole influencer age is that, like, I could barely give a speech in high school, for like an English class. I was so nervous I could barely read a paper. Yeah. Now it's like every kid is doing like TikTok dances, and they're all like screaming into pillows.
But they also can't ask for an extra ketchup packet.
Oh no!
They're too scared to do that. It's crazy.
You wanna really stump a Gen Z and younger kid? Ask them to order a pizza over the phone.
Oh, that's amazing.
They're like, if I can't use the app, I'm not doing it because I don't want to talk on the phone to someone. Why do you think that is? Why do you think people are so afraid to talk on the phone? I have my own theories on this.
I want to hear yours. I have no idea.
I think what it is that it started with my generation, millennials. And I think it's because a lot of them got into student loan debt and they just didn't want to answer the phone when they were calling to tell you that you were behind on your student loans.
Funny.
And so they're just like, no good came from those phone calls.
Yes.
So it's like you started ignoring the phone for practical reasons, and then you just it calloused over, and now you can no longer talk on the phone because you associate answering the phone with bad news. Because what good news comes on the phone now?
That's true.
Not really any.
But what about when you're calling somebody? Why would you be afraid to call someone?
I'm not.
Like the other way around.
That doesn't bother me, but I
don't know. I had like some pretty serious social anxiety when I was in like middle school, but I got over it. Some people aren't getting over it.
Yep, you gotta do it. But also, like, I'm from a generation, like, my generation didn't have, like, you couldn't talk on the phone before 9 p.m. because your phone bill, your cell phone, was not, your minutes weren't free before 9. You had to wait till 9 p.m. to talk to someone.
Well, or like your sister was on the internet when you wanted to use the house phone.
Like we had the two lines, but like
nice.
we had.
Oh, you spoiled.
We didn't have cable though. No cable. But also like I've told Mary this. Like we had intercoms in our house, and we lived in a small house. Like I don't even know, they didn't need them. You just yell and you could hear them in the other room. But to prevent the yelling, like you could just use the intercom to get a hold of someone. Of course, they never worked. Like he's like, hot, upstairs.
They're from like
they were
the 50s.
They
or
were.
something.
They were. They were from like the 40s or like the 50s or the 60s. Like they were like
very.
They were probably from the 80s. They were like brown, brown and tan, and just it looks like something made in the 80s.
Yeah.
Our house was so 80s. Our kitchen had carpet, and all our appliances were green.
Just asking for trouble. With
I can see this.
The most 80s house ever.
I see this.
Yep.
My house now, we do have an old clunky system like what you're talking about.
That's awesome.
But we don't use it, and because I don't even think we know how to use it if we tried. But what we do is we have different Alexa dots. And we say, Alexa, announce. And I don't want to set something off in here.
There's no Alexa in here.
Yeah, okay,
no
good. But it's like, Alexa, announce. And then you can, talk to the whole house, to all your dots. But what I failed to realize, because we hooked my mom up with an Alexa, was that my commanding my husband to do things or my kids or whatever, my mom was hearing in her home in Michigan.
Oh.
So she would be like, scared the heck out of me. Like I just all of a sudden heard you, telling, I need water. Please bring me water. It's so funny. Anyways.
Technology's crazy.
I know. It's crazy stuff.
All right, let's go Super Chats.
Francisco Cogno, I'm not going to read that. That's offensive to chickens. David Hunter said, reminds me of old time Prince duels, like Elon and Zuck. But there's no damsel in distress.
Maybe what they'll do is like a weird version of Wife Swap.
Oh.
They're both, because only Zuck's married, right?
Yeah.
Elon's like, you can have one of my...
Zuck would win Grimes.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want Grimes.
Taxi Platty said, Brett, they made out her gun dug into his hip.
What is this in reference to?
I don't know. This was like an hour ago.
I'm lost.
Shane H. Wilder said, I can't even think of the last time I saw a good satire with pithy one-liners such as like a midget at a urinal. I was going to have to keep on my toes from Naked Gun.
33 and a third. Good times.
Tom Bomberp said, the new Minnie Mouse makes me want to buy Decon. What is that?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means. Braymont said, does Mickey going into public domain mean parents are going to be sued for putting him on a gravestone now? How people didn't see Disney as an abhorrent company sooner is beyond me.
I don't remember the Mickey one. I do remember when Marvel
thing.
sued a guy for putting Spider-Man on his dead son's grave, and Marvel sued him for copyright and made him take it down.
By the way, check your Slack.
Really sad.
Say it again?
Your Slack. Check your Slack.
Okay.
Eduardo Vicente said, I hope this woke shit won't come to Spain like you have there. Holy shit. It probably will. Probably has. Quite Blackpilled said, he met Captain Winky. Half the guys throw up. Ace Ventura went harder than South Park. Did it? I don't even remember Ace Ventura that well.
Let's hold off. Ace Ventura is amazing. You should watch Ace Ventura.
I already watched it. I just
you should watch it again.
I don't remember liking it that much.
It's also you kind of have to be from that age.
Yeah. So why are you telling me to watch it again?
Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it wouldn't.
I didn't remember thinking it was amazing.
It might not hit the same if you weren't from that time period.
Okay. Why is it showing me people's attempted messages that didn't actually send?
For Super Chats?
Yeah.
I can't tell.
Weird.
I don't know.
Okay.
Victoria's Secret, Mary.
Yes. So Victoria's Secret is making a comeback. They announced that they're doing a campaign called the Icon campaign. They're bringing back a bunch of models that came from their era of the 90s and the 2000s, back when, you know, body positivity and forced inclusivity and fat acceptance wasn't a factor. And they were making a lot more money back then. They started losing money and they realized, oh shit, we actually need to appeal to our base, which is women who want an aspirational thing to look at when they are buying products. So they brought back Giselle Bundchen, Adriana Lima, Candace Swanepoel, Hailey Bieber and Emrata are also on this campaign. I have no idea why. And Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell is evil, but I'm not going to say that she's not an icon like she obviously is. They also didn't bring back Heidi Klum. They didn't bring Tyra Banks on, which is, it seems like a missed opportunity. And you're giving it to Emily Ratatouille and Hailey Bieber. I just don't think that they belong in it.
Oh, he's saying that they made out in Ace Ventura. They didn't have sex in Ace Ventura.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that makes sense. She wouldn't have had the surgery.
Okay.
Keep going.
Well, I just, you know, told you guys that this is happening.
Okay.
So people
I don't
are
think they
talking
could
about
have
this
Tyra.
because, I mean, they're bringing back all these thin models and they're not getting the backlash that was expected. One person said, I'm fascinated by how Victoria's Secret is featuring skinny models again and now receiving praise instead of backlash, or at least less backlash than there usually would be. But since the concept is icons and they're bringing back models from peak Victoria's Secret era, I don't see why there would be backlash.
No Tyra Banks?
I feel like they can't bring
Tyra
Tyra.
Banks.
I feel like they can't bring her back because of
But
all the
she's
stuff
getting
that
called
keeps surfacing.
Toxic for her behavior on America's Next Top Model, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like trashing or canceling Gordon Ramsay for being mean to the chefs on Hell's Kitchen. It almost seems a little bit sexist. Like, the point of the show is that she is like putting these girls through the ringer to see who has the most dedication and the most drive. That was the point of the show. They knew what they were getting into from the very start.
Yep. And when you are in an industry of about appearances in your body, like it is absurd. I don't know. Sorry, I was reading through this article. I wonder though too, like, you know, there's obviously they're icons. A lot of them are a little bit, you know, like they're middle-aged women, a little bit older, and I think that's probably a big reason for the applause because these, you know, older women they're older, they're hot. Like
and that's you're allowed.
Yeah, is it
cool.
like you're allowed to be thin and hot because you were grandfathered in from that era when we cared about beauty standards, but we can't have younger models getting a start that are also like fit that beauty standard?
Right.
I guess, you know, Hailey Bieber and Emrata, they count, but I find Emrata extremely annoying. And Hailey Bieber is a Nepo baby.
Yeah. Also, wasn't Victoria's Secret in trouble for a while because of like they had like one of their CEOs was connected to Epstein or something like that?
Yeah, their old CEO, Les Wexner, had close ties to Epstein.
Yeah.
But look, they're bringing back Naomi Campbell, who was on Epstein's flight logs like 5 times. Never saw an explanation for that.
Yep.
I didn't
Still
know that.
asking for one.
Well, we're never.
We'll
going to
never
get that.
know.
We're never
No
gonna
one's
get that
ever going to
explanation.
ask.
It does feel like there has to be some type of offset for any type of thing like this. So it's like you can be thin and hot, but you have to also be old.
Yeah.
You have to be old.
It's not like they look bad for their age.
No,
in
they
any
look great.
sense. They look amazing
for their age.
for their age. I'm just saying, like, they've pulled the ladder up from under them for younger girls to come up in the modeling industry who don't have some kind of boost. Like Hailey Bieber. I mean, she's literally a Baldwin. That's why she's in this campaign. And
That's why she's in there. They're like, she's like, let me in or I'm going to sick Alec on you. And then you're going to end up getting mysteriously shot on the set of a movie.
Yeah.
And that would be bad.
But I think that, like, young girls who are the customer base for Victoria's Secret miss how it was when they were growing up. Even, like, when I was growing up, it hasn't been that long since the culture went insane. It happened relatively recently, and they don't want you to remember that. But, like, it was in the 2000s that this was at its peak, and the Victoria's Secret fashion show was happening. And now, like, that's coming back this year, too. They announced that. When it shut down in 2019 because their sales were like so low. The ratings for this fashion show were so low, and because they had been sabotaging themselves.
3.3 million is still pretty good for a live event. Like, it's not the 5. They said it was like 5.5 million the year, or 5.5 million the year before that.
Well, they say they're bringing back a new version of it, which I don't know what that means. if it's going to be like not as fun and glittery as it was before, what's even the point?
Yeah.
If you're going to make it forced diversity
Yeah.
throughout the entire thing, what is the point? I'm sorry, like I don't care about seeing a model with vitiligo, check. A model in a wheelchair, check. I don't know, like a medically short model, check. Like I don't have a checklist like that. It's just for women who want to see these products modeled on women who are aspirational.
But we were just talking the
And
other day
ideal.
about the Hadids, right? They're pretty popular and thin.
They're also
thin.
nepo babies, to be honest.
Oh,
Yeah, their
okay.
mom.
There's
and dad.
nothing wrong with them.
And-
I mean, I'm just saying they did get propped up into the industry, and their moms from it
Yeah.
as well. So that's the reason why they're famous. But I don't think that Gen Z women care about this like forced diversity as much as these executives seem to think they do. Because I just saw
Do you think it's
a bunch of
millennial- do you
TikToks
think
talking
it's
about
millennials
this.
I think it's millennials.
Yeah, one of these TikToks from a girl who looks like, I don't know, about my age. She said, I don't think the new Victoria's Secret show needs to be inclusive with their models. And, you know, they're like, oh, I think it's cool that they're doing different sizes and body types, but they need to look like angels. They can't just look like makeup-free, natural, bummy, like low effort, just to seem like, you know, we care about women's
every woman or
self-acceptance and stuff like that. Like,
Why must everything be inclusive?
you don't
I'm
need
actually-
to see yourself in
Yeah.
everything.
Like, I ask you.
I
Like,
certainly don't see myself when I go on the Victoria's Secret website and I see fat women modeling the lingerie that I think about buying. Like, I can't imagine that on myself because you don't look like me.
I would actually really love to see sales numbers from a website that uses like plus size models and stuff for like,
I mean,
you
if
know,
it's
their-
specialized to that, it's
Yes,
probably higher.
But like when I'm going on, I can't even think of an example. I don't know. If I'm online shopping though, and there's like a regular woman, like a curvy woman, not a model, and she, you know, something is clearly ill fitting on her body, it does not make me want to buy that thing because I can't even see what it would look like.
Like, it's one thing if you want to show women with like a normal but higher than the average model's body fat percentage. Like if she just has a normal amount of extra weight, she's not overweight.
Yeah.
That would be fine. But they had to take it to all the way to 100. They had to go there. And it's like, no, like you could have done this in a sane, reasonable, measured way.
Yeah.
And instead you went to Lizzo. You
Yeah.
went like
like I
past
said
Lizzo.
earlier, we as a society don't work well in the middle.
And then you
Whether it's
started showing us the
advertising
amputees, and you
or-
started doing the every other deformity you can think of. Like, how can we find as many people as possible who have something wrong with that?
There was a
like,
great
why?
meme. It shows like it's a mannequin at Target advertising a Jaws tank top, and the mannequin is missing an arm. It's very clever. It's very clever.
Funny.
But like for me, I guess granted, I don't look at men's fashion shows, but I don't expect to see. If anything, it's actually kind of interesting because I do have a hard time finding like shirts that fit me because I'm sure like I wear longer shirts anyways, but like also I have wider shoulders for somebody who's as short as I am. So finding clothes that fit me was always difficult anyways, right? But I don't expect them to show me models that perfectly show what that would look like on a body like mine, nor do I look for any type of inspiration from any type of model on what I should look like because your style's your own. But I guess that's different for guys.
Yeah,
That's
it's
very different for guys. But I do feel bad for women who can't seem to win when it comes to these things, right? Like the women who were complaining before, I guess had their own point. They're like, look, there's nothing that looks even remotely close to what I look like. And now the ones who were catered to before are not catered to at all. And it's like, there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
there are obviously still skinny models. That's why they have them in this campaign. But
Well, I thought it was funny when Victoria's Secret first, you know, announced the whole woke thing. I mean, there was still on the website beautiful models,
Right.
and I don't even remember really seeing Megan Rapinoe because remember she was one of them. I don't even remember seeing her, you know, ads and stuff or like it was.
They make them,
clearly-
they just never put them out. They conveniently forget to hit send every time.
I wonder if they did.
They pay. They
it's
pay
very
people.
selective.
They pay
you
the
know?
guys. They're like,
But
only put those out between 1 and 3 in the morning.
When I pull up the website, I do see fat women on the website. It's not that hard to find out.
Rick,
Like,
there's a $20 super chat here from Rick Bungle.
he said, I don't see myself represented by any of the Victoria's Secret models. Whether they're plus sized or skinny or traditional underwear models.
I don't know if that's because you're a guy,
It's probably because he's a guy.
or if you're a woman with a guy's name.
There are trans Victoria's Secret models.
Yep.
So maybe you can feel represented by them.
Yeah.
Because they're male. I saw another comment on Twitter that said Victoria's Secret angels are supposed to be beautiful, so it kind of sucks when they deviate from that because it defeats the whole point.
Yeah.
Someone angrily responded, "Fat people are also beautiful.
Wait.
Hope this helps."
What if we start doing what if they you know how you win? You go to Lane Bryant, you're like, when are you going to give me the inclusive skinny models? Like,
oh yeah, when are they gonna start including skinny women?
Hire some skinny women at Lane
At
Bryant.
Torrid.
I want to be here's the thing, guys. I'm 5'5". Very sure. I want to get hired as a model for Big and Tall stores because that's inclusive.
Because you don't feel seen on that
that's
website.
It's because all the stuff's above my
Okay.
head, right? So it's actually because they're looking over the top. I'm not high enough to see over the counter, but I want to be.
You're a
promoted.
short king.
Yes, I want to be seen and included in Big and Tall marketing pushes.
And in the NBA.
And in the NBA,
and-
exactly. So there's a $20 super chat there from Nick.
He said, oh, I guess it was just
No
a
message. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, guess what? It's okay. You don't need to be seen in everything all the time. It's
Yeah.
not necessary.
I saw more tweets in this vein. One other said, what are the chances that after years of trans models, fat models, ugly models, body positivity at all, the increase in interest rates is what sparked Victoria's Secret to finally remember they're in the hot chick business?
That's really
We're in a recession.
That's the only argument they ever needed to make. Like, look, we're in the hot chick business. You, my friend, are not that.
Do what you want to
That's-
do. But they also Abercrombie and Fitch, Bentley.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That one scared me for some reason. That one got me.
Abercrombie and Fitch was all about making you feel like you shouldn't shop there. And it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't experience that because I was a child.
It looked unattainable. Hollister was the same way. It looked like a club you weren't allowed into.
When I was
And you
5
couldn't
years
see it
old,
either.
I
They
would
were so
walk
dark.
past the Abercrombie and Fitch and smell the cologne.
Oh yes, that lives in my brain.
I dated a girl who worked at Hollister and Abercrombie.
So was she a model technically? Because I think
Or
they
was
had
she
to
one
be
of them
hired as
in the
models.
back room?
No.
She was a
sold
shirt folder.
She sold things on the floor, and what she told me, this is her words. She said that to get hired at either of those stores, the unwritten rule was a manager had to meet you and say, "Yes, I would have sex with them." Like.
Wait, she was told that?
She's saying that no, she worked there. She's saying that it's an unwritten rule, but everyone knew that to get hired there, when you went in for your meeting, if the manager didn't think you were hot enough to have sex with, you weren't getting the job.
I feel like I was a waitress at so many restaurants, teenage years, college and stuff, and that's the rule there too. In the restaurant industry,
At
when
a
you're
mall,
a
you're
waitress.
literally hiring girls who are freshmen in high school.
Yes.
That's
what I would
that's
say,
weird.
what I remember from the Abercrombie craze was that a lot of times I think you had to technically be a model to be hired there.
Yeah, something like
something
that. But you
weird.
can't. I don't know. I don't remember seeing
that was how they were able to exclude ugly people from working there.
They would call them models.
Yeah,
and they
were hired models
involved in selling anything.
Paying you minimum wage to be a model.
Yes.
Just standing there.
Yeah.
But they
To
had
fold the shirt.
shirtless dudes standing outside the stores taking pictures of people. It was so insane.
In a mall. It feels so cold.
You would never
Makes me cold.
see
It is.
that
It
now.
is really funny. You just get a migraine walking by from the smell.
Yes.
Oh,
well, I remember also Hollister and Abercrombie both, they were so dark inside.
Yeah.
And now
How do you see the clothes?
Yeah, I would need my phone now.
And then
everyone's got their light on and their
my
phone.
flashlight. Yeah.
The music is bumping so loud because it's to make you anxious and sensory overloaded, and you just buy.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the kids who couldn't fit in there went to Hot Topic and
Yes.
Or you went to both.
yeah, some people might have been the rare Renaissance person who could shop at both.
I did both. And I did oh my gosh, Hot Topic in its heyday, man.
Yeah.
That was a fun experience. I have not been are Hot Topics around
Yeah,
still?
they're still around.
They are, but they mostly sell anime merchandising and like
and band shirts for millennials.
Yeah, it's not really easy to find band shirts there.
Like
anymore.
there's like definitely for like Third Eye Blind shirts and
there's always gonna be like the Blink 182 shirts,
Killers,
the Mike Kemp shirts,
okay.
things like that. But
so do you think
else.
that they end up making a comeback, Victoria's Secret? Do they re-enter cultural relevance? I don't see them finding a way back to cultural relevance. I think the culture has shifted too far the other direction.
I think that a lot of people say, you know, Rihanna's Fenty line has taken the place of what they kind of forfeited in the
They should have
2010s.
never. I mean, they made a mistake by trying to pander. They should have just stuck with what they were doing. Yeah.
It might be too late. It might not. I don't know.
It never works when you try to pander. It doesn't. It's always.
I'm gonna wait to see an actual difference. Like when I walk past one of their brick and mortar stores, am I going to see a giant picture of a fat woman?
Yeah.
If I don't, maybe I'll walk in. But for now, I'm gonna wait to see the change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just remember when I was same time when I'm at the mall going to Hot Topic and Hollister and all this stuff. I remember walking by, you know, a Victoria's Secret, and it felt like you are invited to like the cool girls slumber party or something. Like everything was like, you know, it like fancy dressers to pull out the underwear sizes, and you know, on the wall it's like the big, really super sexy black and white photo of Adriana Lima, and it's like you're in there thinking, oh my gosh, I want to wear this so I can look like this. You know, it's the aspirational thing that we're talking about,
and it's when like there was this unspoken assumption in body positivity that you don't have to look like a Victoria's Secret model to be beautiful.
Yes.
But now it's like you're beautiful no matter how ugly you are.
Yes. Yes.
Which is just total insanity.
To me, it was like, wear our stuff and you'll be you're a Victoria's Secret angel. You know, poof. Like, it was never like, I don't know. I guess obviously an angel, it makes people feel exclusive because they're so beautiful, I guess, or excluded.
Maybe it's because like, look, when you do that, I guess you look at yourself in the mirror for a little bit afterwards, but for the most part, you're wearing it to wear it. So you still, even if you look at yourself in the mirror, we can lie to ourselves and be like, I look just like the people in these, you know what I mean? Like now we spend so much time looking at ourselves on the phone, you know, whether you're taking selfies, posting pictures of yourself on the internet, you see yourself more. You're not allowed to comfortably enter that delusion for yourself the way you would have been able to do 10, 20 years ago.
When you are in control of your own candlelight and there's not a phone camera you can quick turn on yourself. It's like, nope, you are at the mercy of whatever's going on in your bathroom with lighting.
And mirrors are never kind. No, very rarely. No. Yeah. Actually, and they make like they say the camera adds 10 pounds, right? And I've heard mirrors add 5 or something like that.
Well, and there's stores too. I don't remember which ones. It might have been Victoria's Secret at one point, but they were like kind of warping their mirror so that women would feel better about themselves in the dressing room.
They were warping it so you look like
skinnier,
slimmed out.
Yeah. So you're in there like, oh my god,
so insane.
Yeah, it is.
Man,
insane.
capitalism rules. Just think somebody had to come up with that idea.
Some evil person at the top of some evil company genius somewhere.
And the guy deserves all the raises in the world. Good for him. Let's go to Super Chat, shall we?
Okay, Rascal King said, bonus day for the Rascal King. Here's some for y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rascal King. OMG Bro said, I wish there was more women like Michelle Obama. Okay, to each their own.
I don't know where that came from, but all right.
Eduardo Vicente said, from a Spaniard's perspective, they look a little gay. The Kens? Do they?
Is that what he said?
I don't know why,
That's not the one I have here. From Eduardo Vicente, I have at the end of the day, the woman I saw.
No, that's the next one.
Okay, I don't have the one you're talking about there. Then go.
It seems like all of your super chats are about how you're from Spain. He also said, at the end of the day, the women I saw that are most happy have kids and a loving husband.
Yep, like I see a lot of. It just feels like like in other countries, there's less of the gender, of the focus on gender, at least in Spanish-speaking countries, right? And family is still considered of the utmost importance, and they just seem less hung up on the things that are making us so sad.
Well, they also value their elderly more.
Yes.
And I think that is really.
Is that because we kick everyone else out of the house at 18 here?
Yeah.
We're like, get the hell out, figure it out for yourself.
Why would you like your
parents? You're just like, I don't give a crap about you. You just kicked me out at 18. Yeah. You literally said, here, go take on 6 figures worth of debt and get the hell out of my house.
And start throwing away all of your income into rent. Yep.
You know? Yeah. But then that's not even true. And then didn't even work. Now they all move home after college and can't afford their own places anyways.
Yeah, then you're screwed. Eduardo Vicente said, think that guy doesn't have blood in his veins. He has soy. Damn. In Spain, we call them frikis? Frikis? I don't know what that
Who are we talking about?
Zuckerberg.
He's got green alien blood in his green lizard alien blood. We all know that.
Matthew Williams said Mary legit dropped at least 4 F-bombs and was all like, I'm not reading that when I said Tig Biddies for Phil. Not mad, just disappointed.
That's a fair point, Mary.
Okay, saying the F-bomb, to me, it's cleaner than talking about sexual body parts.
Okay.
You know? Corey Anderson said, Mary, I understand why you don't like prawn, I think. But would you have a problem of a married man and woman recording themselves in the act for their own enjoyment with no intent to share it?
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I would. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say on that. Yes, I would.
Let's do one more and then we'll move on quick.
Tom Bombarder said Mia Khalifa marries for the same reason she performs, money.
I mean, is she marrying rich dude? I don't know if
She's
the dude
already
she married...
rich. She doesn't need to marry.
I
think
called
she
the one a
marries.
bum, right?
Yeah, she's paying alimony to some bum out there.
Yeah, one of those poor bums.
I think she's marrying because she's attention starved.
I love the idea that she like she actually is the woman who's marrying the guys who just no money, no income.
Yeah,
like,
she literally is. Yeah,
I've known. I had a couple of not friends, but people that I knew that were like they always had really hot girlfriends who had really good jobs. It just never worked. I never understood how it worked, but you know.
Well, have you seen those memes where it's like nobody loves on their woman like a man who can't afford Burger King or whatever, and it shows like some guy just like hanging on.
He only got like
his hands are in her front pocket.
It's the universal sign of somebody who's unemployed.
Yes.
Yeah, that is. Also it's hobosexual. When you're unemployed and you're kicked out of your place and suddenly you need someplace to live, you'll settle for just about anything. Hobosexual.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yep.
Yikes.
You'll date whoever it is because they got
a home.
You're dating their apartment. You're dating their house.
Yeah. In Michigan, we called them baby girls.
There you go.
You got to get your baby girl's house.
All right, let's hold off on the rest. We will come back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about this airport ban. So, an OnlyFans model was banned from an airport for an inappropriate cyberpunk Edge Runners cosplay.
Can we stop Can we stop calling OnlyFans girls
models?
What are you modeling? You're naked. You're not modeling any product or clothing or even lingerie. You're naked.
Technically, it's still modeling.
No, it's not. What are you modeling?
What is it then?
Porn.
Photos.
That's what it is.
So, I would be
it's very
more.
Clearly
I would be
delineated.
I would be better with like an OnlyFans actress,
even that. Sure, yeah.
It's better than. I agree. It takes away.
Let's call them like I don't know. Wenches.
Here's if anyone's looking. Here's a photo of what the young lady was wearing to the airport.
She tried to board a plane in a literal bikini, and just expected them to not have an issue with this.
Yep.
And on Instagram, I tried to Google translate her caption from Spanish. It said, "A very boring situation happened this weekend. I tried to board the Seafarers Airport dressed as Rebecca's cosplay for an event. I knew I could be late, so I got dressed so I didn't waste any time. You got dressed at home and then went to the airport dressed already in your cosplay for the event. Very convenient. But I was instructed to go home and change clothes because what I was wearing was not, quote, appropriate. Since I explained that I was going to an event, finally, I think they let her through. But
there's a $20 one there from Rick Bungle.
He said, question for Vanessa and Mary. Do you have any advice for unemployed guys looking to date? I have cash, but no job.
How do you have the cash?
Is it from crypto or something?
I mean,
yeah, like, we need to know more details.
Maybe you should just like make up a random job.
If you've got money, then you're just
lie.
like, I'm independently. I work for myself.
Say you're a trust fund kid. Say,
No, you just. I work for I work for my own marketing department, and it's just how you're marketing yourself.
What if you say you're a freelancer? And then they say, "What do you freelance?
No,
what do you do?" And you'd be like, "A little bit of everything."
You know what it is? You're a consultant.
Oh yeah.
Who do you consult with? All sorts of
firms.
companies.
That's like the most DC thing I've ever heard of.
You're a consultant. I consult for various institutions and companies. And then what you do is you start considering any interaction you have with any business a consult that you just did for free.
Or you can say you're a philanthropist.
There you go.
That's an Always Sunny episode.
There you go. So they did finally let her on.
Yeah, so she posted photos speaking to airport staff members about her dilemma before being rejected and going down the escalator in her bikini. I'm just seeing
so
articles,
cold.
like I'm seeing clickbait articles about OnlyFans models all the time now who are just doing the craziest shit for attention. Like I saw another one of a Twitch streamer actually who linked to her Twitch channel on her Instagram story and disguised it as an OnlyFans link. Tons of people clicked. She got like a record amount of viewers just because she tricked people into thinking that she started doing porn. And it's just like the amount of faith that you lose in humanity when you learn about these things.
Yeah.
But like we need to start having more standards for the way that people present themselves in public, whether it's modesty or not, whether you are, just looking like a fat slob or you are dressed in a bikini at the airport.
I don't want to see anyone's bodies
cover
ever.
it up.
I know. Well, it's like I don't want to see the Hollister guy, Abercrombie guy, standing outside of the mall naked. I certainly don't want to sit next to somebody exposing that much skin on an airplane. That's so gross.
Yeah.
I always hear the jokes like anytime you go to an airport and you're wearing like regular or like a lot of people wear pajamas. Like people used to wear suits to fly.
Dress up, yeah.
Well,
and air travel used to be pleasant.
A little more glamorous than it is now. Did we get another $20 one that I missed?
Not that I see.
Okay, just checking.
I don't understand how she was not freezing in a bikini.
Yeah, that's the real question here.
Sometimes it's like your situation where you go to the airport and it's just the air conditioning is broken or something and it's overcrowded and you're just like you want to crawl out of your own skin.
4th of July when I flew home, the air conditioning in the airport was not working and it was awful. I was disgusting. I felt bad. Like it was awful.
You felt bad.
I felt bad.
Feelings were negative.
I felt bad for people because I was disgusting, but then eventually
everyone's
I was
disgusting.
able to clean up and then like the plane didn't have air conditioning either.
Yeah.
The flight back did, but the flight there didn't.
No, I had that experience with my baby. It was his first flight. It was a short one, but there was no air conditioner. It was like a 90-degree day out of DC to Michigan. It was the worst flight.
But
it
once
was
you get higher up in the sky,
it got better.
It got better, right?
It got better,
Okay.
but we still sat there on the runway for so long because of whatever delay. But I feel like it's always something. I feel like some comedians should do what that OnlyFans model did and wear like some disgusting outfit to
this
a plane.
already happened.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
This already happened.
Can you tell Alex Stein?
Chrissy Mayer, yeah, Alex Stein definitely. Chrissy Mayer, and also another comedian friend, Keanu Thompson, were at an airport and they were stopped for inappropriate dress earlier this year as well. And when I saw the OnlyFans story, I remembered this too. Chrissy Mayer tweeted about it and said, OMG, an American Airlines employee forced me and Keanu Thompson to change our pants before getting on the flight, which actually turned out to be more revealing. This is no way to treat a rewards member.
I love the way to treat a rewards
Literally
member
had
part.
to change at the gate with no cover. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They didn't just let her go into like a security office or something
I guess
to
not.
do that?
Then they responded and said, your comments concern us. Please join us in DMs. We're here and ready to listen.
That's the most corporate answer I've ever seen.
This was really humiliating and I'm very loyal to you guys. I have the credit card and everything.
My favorite part is whenever there's nobody who takes something more personally than somebody who flies the same airline all the time when they don't get their way.
I'm
a rewards member. I've been flying with you for decades, but I'm going to go to Delta if you're not careful.
They're like, the gauge is like, oh no.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like anytime you go to like a department store, like if you've worked retail, they're like, I'm never coming here again. And you're like a $9.99, like you make $9 an hour back then. You're like, bro. Like you have a fundamental lack of understanding of the way the world works.
Yes.
That might bother like my manager's manager.
Yep.
Nobody else
This coming
cares.
from somebody who, like, I don't know, in the 50s bought a pack of bubble gum for like a cent.
Yes.
They just have a totally different concept of the economy.
I've never
value of the dollar.
I'm not partaking in this establishment ever again, and you can't make me. And it's like when people like.
I will alert the media and the CEO.
When I used to work at Target, they're like, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. I'm like, where? Walmart? Like I know you're not doing that. Like I
can get fired today and get hired there in literally less than 24 hours.
But this is like somebody like I'm seeing a customer saying like I'm like, you are a bougie suburban mom. You're not going to Walmart. You're not. I know you're not. Like you might run in there on occasion, but you're just not doing that. So unless you're going to tell me what the alternative is, I guess you're stuck with us here at Target. So more standards. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's a little like there's children at the airport that probably shouldn't be, subjected to this.
I just think it's gross. I mean, I'm not a very body positive person, but like I never want to see skin. I never want to see.
I saw a girl at the gas station the other day wearing bicycle shorts that are nude. As in the shade is like the color of her skin. And it's like, bitch, everyone here thought that you had your whole butt cheeks out.
Yes, that's disgusting.
Like that's disgusting, and it's also it's rude.
It is.
It's classless.
Rude. It is rude.
It's kind of perverted too, because you're trying to like scare people with your ass. I don't know. Like it's just what goes through somebody's head when they do something like that.
That's really gross.
Women need to stop with the bicycle shorts in general. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the ripples of your cellulite when I am just minding my own business in a public place. Please, spare me.
Cover yourself.
Yeah, those get a burqa, why don't you? Cover yourself. I'm kidding. There's a $20 one there from Christmas Loving Engineer.
He said, last time I was on a flight, the dude in front of me straight up took his shirt off from the back and had it so that it was only covering the front. I'm sure they didn't sanitize the seat before the next passenger. What? Why would he want to have his back exposed?
Ew. That's he's like, I need some freedom.
What is wrong with people? Also, like, leave your shoes on when you're in the flight too, unless your feet are pristine. Please.
Oh, you know what I noticed actually when I was on my flight back from Paris in January, people brushing their teeth in the airport bathroom. People were, I could see
I thought
them.
You meant on the airplane.
No, yes, on the airplane. I'm sorry.
I've done that after any longer flight. I do that.
I do mean airplane.
In the
airplane
bathroom is weird because you don't even have like proper faucet,
and it is so
water flow.
Dirty for everybody involved.
Because your like spit is all up in there.
Over.
Ew.
It's so gross. But I was seeing people walk like up and down the aisle with their like teeth equipment, and I was like,
look
they're
at me weird when I do that in the airport. But sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're traveling for. I've traveled for like over 24 hours.
Yeah.
And you just need to.
I'm honestly like that. That truly does not.
But if it's on the plane, that's weird.
I mean, it's so confined and it's so
She's
germy.
just like right next to somebody on the
they're at their seat.
She's just elbowing the person next to them. It's like, ow, ow, ow.
No, they're like going in that little terrible bathroom and using that disgusting little sink where everything is so. Yeah, it just feels so dirty and gross. Oh my God, that's
you don't want to be in that little bathroom for longer than you have to.
You're gonna end up running into Fousey Tube, having
joining the Mile High Club.
Yes, I mean it reminds me of that Tommy Boy scene when he's trying to change in the bathroom and his tie gets caught underneath in the toilet.
Everything goes wrong when you're in confined space. It's kind of like how when you're having a bad day, your pants get hooked on a doorknob or your backpack gets hooked on a doorknob. Anything you're carrying, you know what I'm talking about, right? And it only happens when you're having a bad day.
When you're already pissed.
When you're already in a bad mood. There's I actually watched a video where a guy tries to explain why this happens, and it's because when you're already in a bad mood, your
movements are erratic.
Your movements are more erratic. You're moving with less discernment than you normally would be. So it's like there's a reason why every time you're late for work, I end up almost breaking my doorknob and screaming really loud.
Fortunately, you're never late for work.
Exactly, right? But like that would be a thing, right?
Yes.
And that's because you're running about and you're not being discerning with your movements. You're being too erratic.
Makes sense.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Yeah, we need to finish these up. Rockstar Podcast said, between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, if you had to pick, which do you think is most likely to be a demon? Zuck seems like the obvious choice, but Elon's Neuralink sounds similar to the Mark of the Beast.
Oh, wait, is that the poll? Did
we didn't do a poll today. We didn't do a poll today.
Who is the Antichrist, Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg?
Is that the poll?
How about you make that poll?
Well, we're almost done.
You don't want to?
We're not doing that today.
Okay. I think, I don't know. I think Elon is more likable, so I guess he would be more likely to be the Antichrist, but we're talking about demons here.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg has possessed vibes.
Yeah.
Dorsey. I choose Dorsey.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. He's all the psychedelics turned him into a demon. That's what I think.
He's the demon. The Antichrist.
Eduardo Vicente said about Mia Khalifa, I believe, the only thing I see with this chick is me. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Mia.
Me.
Well, like it would be one thing if like you saw some mess, like if she had a lot of other content, like, oh, here we're married, it's great, and this is what it's like being married, but it's not. Doesn't seem like that's what it is, right? It's all just negative because everyone's focused. Like you said, Mary, all her wedding photos are of her.
It is weird, right?
Yeah.
I think that her husband didn't want to be in the photos with her.
Oh, Bill Gates would probably be the Antichrist. Bill Gates.
Shouldn't the Antichrist be someone that people like?
Or a demon.
Who likes Bill Gates?
Yeah. Demon.
Okay.
Demon.
Tom Bombarder said, what's the best regimen for getting into shape for rugby, Mary? Maybe you've never done that. Maybe you've never played, but don't let that stop you. You've never married either.
Oh, he's saying that...
my advice for marriage was like, don't get divorced if you get slightly annoyed with the person. I feel like that's pretty solid advice. But I know you hate marriage because it didn't work out for you. So sorry that happened, bro. But not everyone has to live by your rules.
But wait, Mary, what is the best way to get in shape if you wanted to get in shape for rugby?
I've known some rugby players, but I didn't get to know their regimen very well. Corey Anderson said, the higher the body count, the higher odds to having an STD. I mean, that makes sense.
Yep. So it's like eventually one day, like our society's going to find this glamorous way. It's like we went and got our STD checks together today.
I hate it.
They're going to celebrate like
it's like a girl's trip.
Yeah, it's going to be like it'll be like a rite of passage before marriage.
Well, remember who was it?
Because people do like genetic testing to make sure that they're not going to have kids that are all messed up. That's a thing
make
that people
sure that they're not like related or something.
Well, they do it
like to make sure
like
percentages for defects.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, we went and got our STD check today. We're clean.
There was a whole, I don't remember. It must have been a comedian or something, but they were basically like, oh yeah, everybody has HPV. Everybody has HPV, and it was like if you're like, unless you're a loser virgin.
Case?
What was that?
Is that the case?
No, gosh, I feel like
think
maybe
it's
it was
like,
something with girls. Maybe it was like a Lena Dunham thing. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Isn't it like half of people or something?
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but not everyone. Rick Bungle said, I like the trad girls on Twitter, but I cannot provide for them, unfortunately. You and many out there,
yes.
But don't fall for their facade. Yeah. Benrick5 said, Dad Facebook groups are pretty awesome though. Moms should slide on in and just watch dads figure shit out.
Did we miss a couple up here from Tom Bombarderp and Benrick5?
I don't know.
After Corey Anderson, Tom Bombarderp says, a woman who chooses...
I'm already there.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. Right. Okay, he said, a woman who chooses not to marry is self-sufficient. A man who chooses not to marry is a cowardly child with commitment issues, odd double standard. I don't think that women who choose not to marry are self-sufficient. That's not what I said. That's not what anyone here would say.
It also goes back to what you were saying earlier, like when it says divorce his broke ass, but like if she's broke, she's
right.
not.
Why is the guy receiving alimony a bum, but any woman receiving alimony, that's like
Deserves
what she's justly deserving of? I don't understand.
I will say that I have seen a lot of people meme into existence like how happy they were that Adele's husband got like a ton of money when they got divorced. So like, get your bag, King. Like you were with her. You were with her through the good times and the bad.
If you
take
look
your
up
half.
Celebrities paying child support and alimony, the list is about half women, because it's whoever makes the most money, I guess. Benrick5 said, we have entered into Memberry talk from South Park, and I'm here for it. I remember watching beauty shows, and bedtime was right before swimsuits.
Well, you know what's weird is like pageants are still around, but that's because pageants are all about virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Yes. Like it's
they're all about like,
why is like
how can we prop up the ugliest person?
Well, not just that, but also it's like, how would you what problems do we need to solve? We need to solve world hunger because people shouldn't be hungry because it's bad when people don't eat.
Do you remember the video of that girl from I think it was like Miss Teen South Carolina 2007 or something, and she was asked like, why can't people identify America on a global map or something, like on a globe? And she gave like the most nonsensical answer ever and went viral for it. And everyone shit on her at the time. But I'm like, why are you expecting this 17-year-old to figure out the problem?
Yep.
This is not important. We just we want someone to be pretty and nice.
Yeah.
Like that's all that matters.
I remember that.
Math is tough.
Math class is tough. Corey Anderson said, I think he means member berries. Yeah, that's what he meant. Nick Koo, that was a $20 one. Thank you. Corey Anderson said, Vanessa, why are ladies weirded out by farts?
Ugh, I even hate the word.
Yeah, the word's awful.
Yeah. In my house, that was our F word. We all have terrible potty mouths, but the FART word was the one. Ugh.
Is that the real? It's like when people pretend to be offended by the word moist.
Okay,
I hate that too.
I don't understand why that's so. Why that's.
It just turned into a meme, and then everybody accepted it.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but FARTs are very, very, very gross. And there is nothing more off-putting than a man just deploying one of those.
Deploying.
Or a woman deploying one.
Okay.
I mean,
some
a woman
ladylike behavior in here.
Yeah.
OMG Bro said, remember when Kanye said Kamala was a baddie?
Did he say that?
Did he?
I do remember when Chris Bertman said Kamala Harris is the hottest vice president of all time.
That's funny.
Because she's the only female vice president.
I guess
they say
that's
that
fair.
about Jennifer Granholm, Michigan governors.
Well, I mean, it would have been true if Sarah Palin had gotten...
Yes.
if we would have gotten Sarah Palin.
Did Kanye actually call Kamala a
That's
baddie?
hilarious.
Okay. The Roaming Bandits said, Hola, I'm just going to super chat since I'm also a Spaniard.
Oh.
I guess, good for you. You're proud of your heritage.
Do they think I'm a Spaniard because of Santos? Is that?
Maybe?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
It's
Portuguese.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's okay. It's also Spanish, I'm sure.
Grofty said, thanks for the episodes that keep me entertained for the end of my workday. You're welcome.
You're always happy to help.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, why would it bother you? Why would what bother me?
Yeah, why would what bother you?
I don't even know what you were responding to when you sent this. Sorry. James Orenthal Wen said, I stand with the Hatsune Miku. LARPer, hashtag waifus matter. No, waifus do not matter.
Mary has put her foot down.
Get a wife, not a waifu. Shane H. Wilder said, last few times I've been on a flight, I've been like, it's freezing. Put on some clothes, people. I guess they don't have to worry about a pat down because they can't smuggle anything.
There you go.
True.
There you go.
But it is
creative.
I get freezing on flights. I don't know why people are so scantily clad.
I'll tell you what. I used to love flying before I got sober. Now I just... time schedules. I used to love the people watching of it all, right? Like now it's... I'm too neurotic to like flying like I used to. It's depressing.
Yeah, I hate flying.
Corey Anderson said Gavin Newsom is the Antichrist.
He is so... I have such a weird thing for Gavin Newsom, though. I think he's so attractive. It's so bad. And I feel like every... I don't know. I cannot...
He's married to Kimberly Guilfoyle?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's so...
No, he's married...
Sexy.
No, used to be.
Yeah, used to be.
Oh, okay.
And his wife...
so sexy.
And his... Thank you.
Thank you.
Him really. Okay.
I know. But I get it. I get when people call him smarmy. I get it. I think he's so freaking hot.
And his...
I don't even have an image of what he looks like in my head.
His wife
so
used to be...
sexy.
His wife used to be an actress.
Yes, and she, I think, came forward about Harvey Weinstein abuse.
Yep, she did.
That was... Her story was kind of stupid, though.
Was it?
It was just like... She went in the hotel room and pretended to like it so he would stop. You're not really giving signals that you don't want to be there.
There was she did an episode. I don't even remember what the show was, but she does this episode where she's basically like a smarmy, like rich lady who like basically she's a NIMBY. The whole episode she's a NIMBY, like ugh, get away, like, and she's perfect. It's like she's not acting.
Wait, what's a NIMBY?
Not in my backyard.
Oh,
so
funny.
and
Okay.
like yeah, she was perfect for it because that's just
This guy just looks like a sociopath.
Oh, and
there's
it's
nothing
so-
attractive
and in the
about
other-
him.
He's like super tall. He's got great hair. He's got those perfect teeth. Like I remember when everybody was pissed at him because the whole like California was like telling its residents to make their thermostats set to like 85 or something to save energy or whatever. And then he did the press conference in like a fleece, and all I could think about was how sexy he looked in the fleece. But I don't know. I
he
have
rocks
a
that
problem.
North Face.
He looks really good in the North. He's a very sexy man. But
U.S. to begin importing oil from Gavin Newsom's hair.
What's really funny about that is the thing I'm talking about with his wife. That episode of that show, she's like the wife of a politician.
Oh, funny.
So
It's kinda perfect,
Yeah,
yes.
and it was before she was married to him.
Life
so,
imitates art.
Yeah, it does.
That's very funny.
Grofty said for the crisis party, Buck.
Thank
then
you.
He said Buck again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jacob Edler said, he just sent a sticker.
Yep, and it
Thank
looks
you.
like something
pear.
Yeah, it's a pear or something celebrating.
BB said farmers in Netherlands, Canada, South Africa.
And then a globe, a
I don't
praying
know what
emoji,
all this means.
a trophy, and a first place medal. But thank you.
Okay, Grofty said Buck again. Thank you. Corey Anderson said the word panties makes my skin crawl, and I don't know why.
It shouldn't.
Okay, I kind of get that. It's not a great word.
It is. It's like. Wait,
Oh, Corey Anderson said her reaction is why he is the Antichrist.
yeah, exactly. That's why he's the Antichrist because
he bewitched
you
you.
know he's a bad person. And you're like,
Yes.
I can't help it.
I can't help it. And every time Republicans use him in an ad, I'm like, this is not doing what you
She's
think
like,
it's doing.
gonna go blue if you're not careful.
Yes. Yes.
Take the blue pill real quick.
Well, I mean, I think that DeSantis Newsom, if they do debate, that's going to be a very Nixon Kennedy.
Okay.
And I think that we're going to
It's
see
giving.
just how
It's giving
it's giving Nixon Kennedy. That's very funny.
And DeSantis is gonna be up there with his awkward laugh and his.
And he's going to look so like short and stocky compared to the beautiful swan that is Gavin.
Beautiful swan.
The beautiful swan man.
He's gonna like DeSantis is gonna get like a stepping stool to stand on,
Yes.
so they look like they're the same height.
Yes.
It's okay, Ron. It's fine.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, it did not have Gavin Newsom's attractiveness come up on PCC on my 2023 bingo card.
You're welcome.
Me neither, buddy.
Thursday said, this is what happens when you don't research your guests. They say crazy stuff about 50-year-old men.
We have done our research, and she's allowed to have her opinion here. Hey,
She's entitled to her
Dane would
celebrity politician crush.
Dane would get in trouble in the chat all the time for saying that, hey, AOC is hot. That
Or
was
Brie
his take.
Larson.
Or Brie Larson. And then people would be like, she's not hot. I was like, if she was blonde, she'd be hot.
AOC is hot. Sorry.
She's just, she has the eyes of a woman who throws your clothes out the window. She does.
I think when she's not talking, she's attractive.
Make her blonde. Make her blonde.
No.
She's in great shape though. Like she has a great body.
I'll take Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, she's the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryle Kittenhouse said, I just got here. Can I get a recap of today's show?
So we started
are
to
you
talk
really
about Captain Marvel. We moved on to the SAG strike. We then talked about the Elon versus Zuckerberg fight. Then we moved on to Q today, Cringe of the Day, 1975 in Barbie, Mia Khalifa, Victoria's Secret, and then an airport ban. There you go.
You should be like an auctioneer.
75, yeah.
Yes. You're very good at that.
Eduardo Vicente said, I have to say it, but Mary looks hermosa. Stunning. Greetings from Spain.
There you go.
What is going on in the chat today?
That's funny.
Thank you.
It's Friday, guys. It's Friday. It's good. All right, guys, before we go, would you please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so? Why wouldn't you have already done so? My goodness. All right, Vanessa, where can they find you? If they want to ask you about Gavin Newsom, where would they go to find you?
You can find me on twitter.com/Vanessa Santos XO.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on Twitter or X. That is also Mary Archived.
There are 3 more there, Mary.
Here we go. Riley Kittenhouse said, thanks, Brett.
You're
Corey
welcome.
Anderson just said fart. Okay. High Voltage 75 said, so what's really going on with
Corey.
Bucko? A month ago, you guys were acting like he was on death's doorstep. Well, we thought that, but he seems to be, carrying on.
What they said,
That's incredible.
What they said, from what I understand, is that he was outside for a bit when the air was really, really bad, and it really affected his lungs. And when they got him back inside, they changed his food. So his diet has changed a little bit, and he seems better. His weight still fluctuates, but we keep our fingers crossed. And I think Bucko will live forever out of spite. I do.
I think it's happening.
It really is spiteful.
Yeah.
We love Bucko, and when people ask for photos, my phone is 90% phone.
Who would have
Bucko.
thought that Bucko would outlive Roberto Jr.?
Not me.
No one would have predicted
not me.
this.
Not me. All right, Mary, did you tell them where they can find you?
I did.
All right.
I can do it again if you really want me to.
Go for it.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect.
There you go.
Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter /X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Pop Culture Crisis is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, there's one more there if you want to.
Do you want to read it?
No, go ahead.
Corey Anderson just said fart again.
Perfect.
Panties, Corey.
Exactly.
Isn't he the one who hates panties?
I think he's the one who
Panties.
Perfect. And then there's one more from Grofty, says the same thing. Fart. Guys, we'll be back with another episode on Monday. See you Monday, guys. Later.
Bye.
For real, though, when I go to the barber, I ask him to give me the Gavin Newsom.